My husband befriended a single mom, and it's making me uncomfortable.
Oh, are they flirty?
Me, 23 female, Jessica, married to my husband, James, 26 male, has been picking up our son from daycare since he finishes work before me. Our name is on the pickup register. Our son's daycare ends at 3:30 p.m. My husband finishes work at 3, and I finish at 4. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Daycare 62, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, lately I've been noticing that he would come home a bit later, 4:10, 4:15. At first I thought nothing of it, probably traffic or running errands, but it's been happening for weeks now, and I got a weird feeling about it. So I went to ask why he's been coming home late for the past months, and he couldn't give a straight answer. So I took it upon myself to go through his phone and found many chats with a woman he's never mentioned before. Reading through them, they were clearly flirty and they talked about the kids. I felt super uncomfortable with this because she's a stranger and I don't know her. So why is she around my son? But she acts like she knows him. She says things like, I bought him apple slices since they're his faves. The kids can share at lunch. After reading these, I decided that I was going to leave early to pick up my son and let my husband know not to. I arrived at the school, showed them my ID to confirm, and had a quick convo with my son's teacher and was going to leave until this woman stopped me and accused me of kidnapping my own son. I tried to tell her that I'm the mom and I'm leaving. She literally body blocked me and called the cops. When they arrived, I tried to explain the situation and kept on saying, Dad isn't here. Anyway, my son's teacher arrived, explained the situation. As I'm finally about to leave, my husband arrives. I tried to tell him that that crazy person called the cops on me for picking up our son, only for him to take him out of my arms. So I told him, we're leaving, get in the car. I'm walking towards the car and turn around. He's talking to her. I go back to tell him, we're leaving. And I looked at her to get her hands off my husband. We get in the car and he starts accusing me of being rude to her, saying it was an innocent mistake on her part. I let him know I know that he has a crush on her and that she's the one who was wrong because the teachers explained to her who I was and she still called. The only one making mistakes was him, entertaining a girl who has feelings for him and bringing her around our son without letting me know, making her think he's single, which he denied. So I asked, did you ever mention you were married? He tried to say they're friends. I told him, I'm going to switch daycares. He wasn't happy, but I don't care. I also mentioned it to his brother and a couple others in case he tries to twist it. He's been silent. I don't know where we stand.
Divorce this man.
Honestly,
this is disgusting.
This is scummy of him.
This is so scummy.
This is super
The cops
scummy.
are called on you
And
because they're accusing you of kidnapping your own kid. And he goes and comforts the woman who called the cops on you.
You just had the cops called on you. You just had the cops called on you. And he takes away your son from you. Comments. Comment 1. A piece of advice for you, OP. I've been through something similar. Don't go straight into making assumptions when you talk to your husband about this. Only confront him with hard facts. He was routinely late from picking up your son and gave no answer. Now these texts reveal it's because he's been spending time with her. That might be another thing if he had told you this, but he kept it a secret when asked. This in itself is a betrayal of your trust. He wouldn't lie if he had nothing to hide. Great point, because you asked him multiple times and he was cagey. Screenshot those flirty texts. Know what specific things you can reference. Ask him if he would be okay if you said these things to a strange man he didn't know. If he says he'd be fine with it, he's bluffing, and you should interpret that as a self-absorbed response. So don't engage in the conversation in the topic after that. He will just try to make you feel like the crazy one. Don't let him get to you. He had your kid hanging around another adult that you do not know. Tell him you should both be informed of where your son is and who he's with, even if one of you is there. If he tries to say, she's safe, or that he knows her, so it's fine, or whatever, again, tell him that he should not tolerate you having your son around a strange man. So you shouldn't tolerate his secrecy either.
I'm like screaming at this man.
This man sucks. Yeah, Kate says it's at the very least an emotional affair.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if he still says it's fine, then maybe he's not a responsible parent and pickups should be delegated to you from now on. He's clearly not a responsible parent because he let his son's mother get the cops called on her.
Yeah.
And then goes and comforts the other woman who called those cops, and also involving his son because he takes his son away from OP.
Right.
And involving his son in whatever weird stuff is going on with this woman.
And how scared the son must have been.
He must have been terrified, like being taken away from his mom, everyone shouting,
the cop.
"Oh, you're getting kidnapped," and he's like, "This is my mom."
Oh my god, it's
no.
I'm raging for you.
I'm raging.
Girl, you can rage harder.
Rage harder. Go harder. Leave this man.
Leave this man. Boo this man.
Boo. Comment 2, you might have handled this a bit better, but the situation was out of control. Calling the cops is a nuclear move. Personally, I would look into filing charges against her. The daycare let you have the child, meaning they knew you. She had to know that somewhere this child had a mother. She filed a false report to the police, probably because somewhere in her mind she was going to be a stepmom soon. I do not envy you with the talk you must be having with husband right now. He was very likely having an emotional affair with this woman. That is a form of cheating that, in my opinion, is far worse than a physical affair. Emotional affairs can cause a husband to break up his family as he believes he will get a better partner out of the deal. I suggest getting into counseling as soon as possible if you want to save this relationship. Comment 3, your husband decided to start a relationship with someone else. There is no way to control him or control the environment enough to stop him. And there is an update, folks. Do you have any other thoughts?
Leave this man! Yeah. That's my only thought.
Maybe let's do a little poll while we're reading this update, but like leave him or therapy. Because I'm on the leave him train just because he...
Leave him and then get therapy for yourself.
Yeah. Getting the cops calling on you and you don't even defend your partner. Update! I spoke to his brother and a couple of my friends, letting them know the situation. I've also talked to a lawyer regarding filing, and I'm not sure if I'm going to file yet, but I have documents ready for when I do. So OP's also on the divorce train. I spoke to the daycare, and she's been punted out. Good. The ECE spoke to her, explaining who I was, that they had proof that I was the mother, plus I'm on the pickup list. So they just threw her out. So I guess I don't need to look for a new daycare. Regarding him, I spoke to him and he was mad that I had her thrown out of the daycare. But I had nothing to do with that. Turns out she's married, but her husband doesn't really pay attention to her. And from the look of it, she's probably never gonna leave him. She's a stay-at-home mom. One of the other moms let me know about this. I could tell he didn't know either. After the daycare incident, I think it somehow got back to her husband, but she's the one who ended their talking. I'm going to file for divorce. His family is trying to talk me out of it, but what's done is done. I don't trust him anymore. He's asking me not to leave and that he doesn't want our son to grow up in a broken household, but whose fault is that? He's staying at his brother's house, who is well aware of the situation and doesn't F with him anymore. Most of our family and friends sided with me. I will be the one picking up our son from now on. Switch my schedule. And there's a second update. Any final thoughts?
Divorce.
Divorce.
Only thought.
Only
Still
thought. One thought. Divorce.
Elevated now. Divorce for sure.
A little bit higher. Divorce. Divorce. I read the comments and I've decided to talk to him. He seemed apologetic, but when I asked him to show me the text, he hesitated, and in a way, I had to talk him into showing me. I found videos upon videos and texts of them hanging. The videos broke me. They look like a family laughing and the kids playing. He brought their kids to play together without telling OP.
It was after they picked him up from daycare. They went from daycare to hang out.
Messed up. I just wanted to pass away. He said he was sorry, but he cares about her. To which I replied if he's going to continue to stay friends with her. And he said yes. I let him know that if he ever wants me back and for our family to be whole again, he would have to cut contact, as if he never met her. He tried to say our kids are friends. I told him again, as if he never met them. Our son is 2. He's not going to remember them 2 weeks, so what difference would it make to him? Also, I nailed that age.
Yeah. The dad's going to be feeding, to the kid, go tell him you miss. Go tell him you miss Ethan. Go tell him you miss Joe. Go tell him. Go tell mom.
And the kid's like, I
don't really remember who that is.
Who? I miss someone?
I have a new friend at daycare already.
He gave me his passwords to everything. Full access. He blocked her and we switched daycares either way. I informed our son's new daycare about the situation and who this woman is in case she ever shows up or he brings her behind my back. And by the way, we would never post full episodes of stories like this behind your back because you can find them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio if you just search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Any final
It sounds like they're gonna try the family thing. I don't trust this man.
Well, I think they're like on the in the process of getting divorced, but maybe trying to co-parent or like separation, trying to co-parent. It seems.
Start doing therapy for figuring out how to do that.
Yeah, therapy for co-parenting. Is super important. There's a little bit left though. He's transferring workplaces. I guess she knows where he works. So she's been at his office once. Changed numbers plus blocked on socials. These are all in case she tries to contact him again. He moved back in and we're trying to make things work. Okay, so they are. But I don't know if I can ever trust him again. I read a comment that said to stay till he thinks we're good and leave. Not gonna lie. I consider it. Regardless, if I ever change my mind on the marriage, I'll have my lawyer and I'll be ready. For now, we're trying to make it work. I don't personally know how that's going to work. I mean, from you literally looking, like snooping at his phone, it wasn't going to work.
You have to go so far to feel comfortable of being away from this girl, like changing your numbers, still changing daycares, which I still would have too.
You have to be dragged along into that,
and then still being like, but they're friends.
My childhood friend abandoned me, and now he wants back in my life.
You know, the cyclical nature of the world doth find itself in this Reddit here today.
Trigger warning for fatal car accident. Backstory 2.5 years before the current issue. For context, my best friend Tom, 36 male, and I, 34 female, are really close, as besties are. Our fathers were friends since their teens, and our mothers were friends at college. His mom wanted a daughter, so when I was born, she became my godmother. By the way, this comes from user Girly Geek, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
And I'm Riley.
And I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, folks. But we are not all-knowing creatures. We don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do in any given situation. So if you would do something different, let us know in the comments. OP says, Tom is engaged to Anne. Their wedding is going to be in less than 2 weeks. Tom and I live in a different state from our parents. So most of the wedding party is Anne's friends and family. Tom wanted his brother Jim to be a groomsman and asked me to be a bridesmaid with Jim. We're the only two people related to Tom in the wedding party. During dress shopping day, I noticed that all the other girls were very cold towards me. They would either ignore my attempts to initiate conversation or give very short answers. Every time I was with them, I tried to bound, but I was
I've never heard that.
Getting uncomfortable with the situation until Anne's cousin started to attend the events and interacted with me. My godmother came earlier to help Jim move out of Tom's apartment. He's been living there since he got a job here last year. They co-own the apartment, but he decided to sell his share and move out before the wedding. Anne wanted him to move sooner so they could remodel the apartment to be more her taste. This would spark a lot of arguments between them. Last week, my godmother called me, and she was very disappointed with my behavior and wanted to talk to me. She said she was expecting me in the bridal shower that afternoon, and I didn't show up, just like in Anne's bachelorette party. I showed her my phone, and there was no invitation to go to either event, in which I had no idea they were happening or when. I told her about the cold shoulder I was getting every time I was doing something with them, and it wouldn't surprise me that they wanted to have a party without me, so they'd be more comfortable among themselves. It wouldn't bother me if they had not lied about me refusing to participate out of spite for Anne. She promised me she wasn't going to talk to either Anne or Tom about it because I didn't want to create drama. On Monday, Tom called me asking, "What's going on?" His mother, Anne, had a huge argument over the apartment renovations again, and after Anne said something like, "It would have been done sooner if Jim had moved to a hotel sooner," my godmother blew up, which prompted Anne to admit she never wanted us in the bridal party. Tom was angry at me for not letting him know I was being treated badly before things got to that point. I told him I didn't want to add to his plate and create more arguments around the wedding, but since Anne never wanted me as a bridesmaid, I would step down. I knew Jim wanted to step down long ago because of the arguments around him moving. He didn't for Tom. Now, Anne's friends are calling me an a-hole for stepping down so close to the wedding as revenge on Anne. You're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
bride shouldn't have had you in the wedding party at all if she didn't want you there in the first place. Now the truth has been revealed. Everyone says I should just apologize to Anne for all of this. Am I the a-hole? No. No, you're not.
No. Maybe everybody should just stop getting married.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of Reddit stories are about weddings. What's the common denominator? Weddings.
Getting married.
Yeah.
Checkmate.
Checkmate.
Here we are. Okay. Tom and I have known each other our whole lives. Our families have been close for decades, and his mom is also my godmother. He has 3 older brothers, and our parents are really close. Although our families still live in another state, Tom and I both moved away years ago. His brother, Jim, 40, relocated to our state about 6 years ago for work, which brought us all even closer for a while. After Tom's wedding, Jim lived with us for a few months before buying a place in our building. My husband, 39 male, and Jim had gotten close through work and shared interests, so having him around just felt natural. A lot of late-night gaming, too. Meanwhile, things with Tom started to shift. After wedding drama, his wife Anne set some boundaries when it came to me. I respected that. But it changed the dynamic between Tom and I. We went from being like siblings to something more distant and careful. For a while, we only really saw each other during family events, birthdays, holidays, or when our parents visited. Then came March of last year. Jim and my husband were coming back from a work trip with 2 coworkers when another driver tried to pass on a curve and hit them head on. Dang! It's like the 3rd car accident we've had today. Everyone drive safe out there.
I was just about to say, just be careful. Just be careful out there.
The driver of their car passed away instantly. My husband was in the front seat. Jim was behind him. All 3 survivors were rushed to the hospital. I met my husband at the ER. He was conscious but in pain. He kept telling me to check on Jim and that he was going to be okay. That was the last thing he said. He passed away a few hours later during emergency surgery. After his surgery, Jim was taken to the ICU. I stayed with him until my godmother arrived. I called Tom to let him know. He never came. He only spoke to his mom. I was alone in that hospital for almost 2 days. The rest of that year is a blur. Gee, no wonder. My in-laws and parents took turns staying with us. Jim pulled through, but it was months of rehab and panic attacks from survivor's guilt. Somewhere in the middle of it all, the 3 of us, me and my 4-year-old son and Jim, just held each other up. I stopped reaching out to Tom. He didn't reach out to me either. I understood giving his marriage space, but when everything happened and he still stayed away, it broke our friendship. Now, out of nowhere, Tom wants to reconnect. He's planning a family vacation with his brothers, their partners and kids, and wants me and my son to join like old times. Everyone else is on board. I'm the only one hesitating, because honestly, I don't trust him. Tom wasn't there when I needed him most, and I'm not mad he chose his wife. I just wish he hadn't chosen silence, too. He says this trip is an olive branch. He keeps insisting I go or at least tell him why I don't want to. And the truth is, I haven't moved past what he didn't do. I don't want to start anything, but I also don't want to pretend none of it happened. And I don't know how to explain that without reopening something I've worked really hard to survive. Any advice? And there are some top/relevant comments here.
I don't think a vacation is the way to it's funny. I wonder if in his head he's like, oh, like this is like the olive branch, like it's this big gesture. It's this big gesture of like a vacation and stuff, and that'll be what re-sparks this. When the truth is, you need to talk. Like you don't go straight to the shared vacation. You go to
you go to the coffee shop, dude.
I wasn't there for you when I needed. You go to the acknowledging. You go to the talking. Like, and the fact that he's trying to push her to come, like, God, heart goes out to her.
Yeah. We have comment from Suspicious Fan 4105 asking for info. Why is Tom's wife suddenly okay with you being invited on a trip if y'all couldn't even be friends after you got married? I'm so sorry for your loss, OP. That said, you absolutely do not need to tell Tom why you won't go on the trip. It doesn't matter if he's bringing an entire olive tree. His behavior during and after the crisis is reprehensible. He could have at least sent a message instead of silence. You do what you need to do to protect your peace. That's the most important thing. You don't owe him or anyone else a reason why you're not going. OP responds, as far as I know, it's been something my godparents and my parents have been trying to mend. I understand that both our families are close, and his brothers took turns helping us out during Jim's recovery, since I was in no position of driving him to doctor's appointments and all that. I'm close with all of them, and so is my brother. The difference between Tom and I was our close age and shared interests that made us be glued together since childhood. Sydney Breb says, I'm sorry, but this is confusing. You were married/widowed. You lived with your husband, Tom, and his wife, plus Jim, for a time in an apartment? Tom is a bad pseudo-brother and to you, and a pretty bad brother to his actual brother. He appears to want you to forget all that and just be happy he's gotten through his difficult time. You could suggest to Tom that you'll let him know when and if you're ready to forgive him for his grievish absence when you needed him. OP replies, Tom and Jim had bought a place together, but when Tom proposed, his then-fiancée wanted Jim out. It all blew up a couple weeks before their wedding. While Jim was in a hotel looking for a new place, my husband offered our place for him to crash. He had already received money for his share of the property to invest in a new one. So Jim lived with us for about 3 months until he moved out to his own place. And there's an update. It's 11 days later. I think you can just say, hey, I don't want it in this context. Maybe let's meet up and talk after.
Yeah.
I appreciate the thought. But you really don't need to do like the 5-paragraph explanation. It's like, save that for when you guys meet up if that's what you want. Let's go ahead and get into the update. I took everyone's comments into consideration, along with what's been coming up in grief counseling, and made some peace with parts of the situation. I don't hold Tom accountable for not supporting me. You can't demand support from someone who never really offered it, and Tom and I had already grown distant before my husband passed away, but I can't pretend it didn't hurt. Tom went to the funeral, but after that, nothing, not even a text. To answer what a few asked, no, I'm not romantically involved with Jim. We've gotten close this past year, and my son adores him, but I'm not ready to open my heart again, and Jim has never hinted at wanting more. Which you should definitely not do anything romantic with the man who survived the wreck that took your husband. That's going to be a little too charged, okay, for a healthy relationship. Our therapist calls our relationship limbo, not quite something, but too close to be nothing. Especially now, with my son asking Jim to go to his Father's Day presentation because he does dad things and now he doesn't have a dad. So yeah, it's weird. Confusing as all get out, with a small kid in the mix. And now here's the update. I decided to call everyone individually. My parents, godparents, each of Tom's siblings, including Jim. They were all understanding, and they suggested a small trip for my birthday without Tom, which I agreed to. They're right, I do need some normalcy, but that doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. I left Tom for last. I was honest with him, and he got frustrated that I wasn't willing to just let it go. He said he hates hospitals, he was scared for his brother and froze, and after some time he just didn't know how to make amends and asked me to not make him the villain. I kept thinking that while he froze, I had news that Jim might never wake up by a doctor, and less than an hour later I was making calls to let my in-laws know that their son was gone. I took care of the funeral because I could not ask my mother-in-law to do it. She was doing her best with my son at home while also grieving the loss of her son. My parents and godparents took the first flight available, but still it was only on the next day. I let Tom know that it is unfair of him to compare his fears to what I had to endure alone for those first 48 hours. He understood we're never going back to what we were. He still organized the original trip with his siblings, but he knows I won't be there. I'm not ready to talk to him again beyond this. Hopefully, my birthday trip will be a good start to move forward, and that Tom will respect the space I need without pushing. And by the way, I'm going to push you to listen to full episodes with stories like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. Wherever you get your stories, just type in OK Storytime, and you can listen to every story we've ever told, basically. And we do have some comments to finish off. Relevant comment from Odd Consideration 754. What confuses me, and maybe I missed it somehow, is why is Tom's wife suddenly okay with OP going on the trip? It seems like she would be even more insecure now that she's a widow and technically single, even though I fully understand you wouldn't be interested no matter what. Was Tom not going to tell her about the trip and let her lose her mind on a grieving woman when she found out? Or did she know and have intentions of being hurtful to her on the trip? OP says, I truly have no idea if Anne was okay or not about me going on the trip. We don't talk since their wedding. I never really tried to make any amends with her. And after cutting Tom off too, I realized that sometimes a rift is a good thing. The Greek Italian replies, if he wants to just let it go, then he can start by making a proper apology. The very least he could have done was send you a text. He cannot let his own fears and his wife's boundaries be an excuse for his behavior when the rest of his family was still able to reach out and be there for you. Not to mention that you helped take care of his brother. I'm quite curious to know where his wife stands with this trip he planned, knowing you had been invited. And OP says, being honest, I really don't know if Anne was okay or not. We don't talk since their wedding. I remember remarks from while I was in the wedding party. Her friends were always saying it was weird that he lived with his brother and we're still close to his childhood friends.
That's crazy. Can I just say something?
Yeah.
What a sad, dank world to live in, where you look at anybody else and like your gut reactions are like, oh, it's weird that they're living with their family, and it's weird that they're close to their childhood friends. Like, just what a sad place that must be to look upon relationships.
To just label it as weird and not just well, that's nice.
Yeah.
You still are friends with your childhood friends. That's good.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, you can live with your family. Like, okay, that's nice. We come from different backgrounds. Our family is Italian. Our grandparents were Italian. We don't get married and leave the family, but make it grow. My husband was also from an Italian household, so for him, it made as much sense as it did to me. He was very close to all his cousins, and even after his passing, I'm still close with his family. Just yesterday, I was in his cousin's daughter's baptism, not out of politeness, but because I'm still family. Anne's family is different. You get married, and only special holidays or events are family, but nuclear always comes first. I don't know if this makes sense to you guys, and that's the end of that story. You know, what makes sense to me, let's just all get along and like each other.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. Love each other, read poetry, make funny bits.
Yes.
That's
funny bits and quips and
jests,
snaps and
maybe
flaps.
Maybe even goofs and gaffs.
Yes.
If you're thinking of it.
I refuse to be involved with my friend any longer because she's always starting drama.
We're not friends anymore.
I, 37 female, have been friends with someone, let's call her Meg, 41 female, and we have been friends, quote unquote, for over 7 years now. And I thought we were close. Her kids called me auntie, and my kids called her auntie. I thought we saw each other as family, essentially. By the way, this comes from Dark Goddess 88, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, she has been with her husband a little less than 20 years, with it mostly being strained and lots of conflict. She owned a shop that I worked in and was her manager and helped run the day-to-day operations, which is how we became close. I essentially started working there without being paid as more of a volunteer thing. My husband became frustrated and wanted me to be paid, so she began to pay me. Not much, but it was something. And I could take care of my kids without daycare, essentially. Well, things happened at the store and she couldn't pay me, but I didn't want to give up on the store because I really loved it and put a lot of time and energy into it. Last year is when things really changed on a personal level, I guess. My family and hers also hung out with a group of friends on a regular basis, and things were nice. We were all kind of close friends, hanging out until Christmas of 2023. Meg and her husband decided, I guess, to go through with the separation, which is fine if that was going to make them happy. We were all more concerned for the kids since sometimes Meg and her husband didn't always keep their personal business private. At the same time they decided to go through with the separation, Meg began to hang out with another guy, let's call him Sam, 32 male. At first, the friend group didn't think much of it until Sam seemed to be around a lot, especially when Meg's husband, let's call him Greg, wasn't around. As close as me and Meg were, she never really told me anything about Sam, just kept saying that he was a friend. In January 2024, Meg is telling me that she had moved into the spare room after Christmas and that her and Greg were trying to coexist in the same house since she didn't have the funds to move out, but that lately things were getting to be too intense in the house.
Greg, I guess, wasn't giving her any space and kept coming into her room and starting arguments. Now, my husband and Greg were friends as well, and I was friends with Greg as much as Meg. Greg has come to both me and my husband for advice, like Meg, and we have tried to help both of them. From the very beginning, we told Greg and Meg that no matter what, we wouldn't choose sides and we were going to be friends with both of them. Meg came crying to me saying that she was afraid Greg was going to punt her out of the house and she had nowhere to go. I felt really bad, and I had been through an ugly divorce a long time ago where I was essentially homeless. I didn't want anyone I cared about to go through that, and we had a spare room, so me and my husband offered for her to come stay with us until she figured out what to do or find somewhere more permanent. She moved in with us, and at first, it wasn't so bad. We understood that with things at the store not doing well, she more than likely wouldn't be able to help with rent or bills. After a month of moving in with us, things became strained with the entire friend group because of some incident that I wasn't present for, where a few of our friends and Meg were out at a bar and Sam showed up. Things happened with one of our friends and Sam, and he left. I was told about what happened, and some of the friends and I talked about it, pretty much being on the same page that we didn't really like Sam, but we weren't sure what's going on with Meg and Sam or Meg and Greg. We agreed to try to stay out of it and just support them however we could. That didn't last because not long after, Sam started to come over to our house and Meg informs me that they are now dating. Okay.
Oh, well, this friend is, not so much of a friend anymore.
Apparently. To put that in perspective, she has known Sam since October. Her and Greg separate in December. Sam and Meg are hanging out in January, and by February, her and Sam are now dating. Me and my husband were trying to stay out of it and thought we were just helping someone to not be homeless. When it comes out that Sam and Meg are dating, the friend group essentially split into camps because most didn't like Sam. Me, my husband, and another close friend, Adam, didn't want to choose sides, but we were essentially assumed to be on Meg's side, and the other friends were on Greg's side. Our group didn't speak much after that, so we lost a few really good friends because of Meg and Greg. Now, during all this, Sam comes over and spends the night with Meg a few days, maybe the weekend, and then they would go to Sam's place for some time. That was fine with us and seemed rather normal for an adult relationship.
Be like if I had a friend staying over, I don't know if I would want their partner coming and staying too.
Right. I feel like you only get those privileges if you pay rent.
Yeah, if you live there and she's not.
But if you're like couch surfing.
Yeah, you don't get to be like, hey, my boyfriend's going to be over a couple nights a week.
Yeah, you don't get to invite people. Unfortunately, that did not last very long, and Sam showed up and essentially never left one day.
Kick him out. It's
For
your
real.
place.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
She essentially had him move into our house, into her room, even though he rented a room with one of his friends, but neither of them were giving any sort of contribution to our household for bills. They would buy food for themselves or go out to eat. Where she had the money, I have no idea, since the store was her only job and neither of us were being paid at this time, or so I thought.
OP, this is ridiculous. Just tell them to go live at Sam's apartment.
Yeah, get her out of there. We didn't have much money, but I always tried to be the nice person, sometimes too nice.
Yeah, clearly.
And if I cooked something, I tried my best to include them with my family, and they would do the same sometimes. Me and my husband, Adam, and Adam's partner all became close during this time since no one else really talked to us because of Meg. On top of everything with Meg and Sam, she had her 2 kids over every other weekend for visitation. For the first 2 times, Sam would leave and the kids slept in her room, but after, Sam stayed and the kids had nowhere to sleep except in my son's room with him. It was okay at first, but after a bit, he started having a hard time with everything, which was understandable, and we tried our best to help him emotionally and mentally. Yeah, that's another point, is that OP has kids.
Yeah.
Like, it's a tricky scenario to have a friend of yours stay over when you have kids.
Yeah.
Like, it's an adjustment, but then having that friend bring over a man?
That's totally irresponsible and disrespectful.
Absolutely. The time that Sam and Meg were together and living with us, most times they seemed to be arguing or fighting with each other.
Totally inappropriate.
Which created a really uncomfortable household.
Dude, it's your household. Kick them out.
It was always something stupid or trivial between the two of them. I started getting sick around April and we found out that we were expecting our second child next year, in 2025.
Them out.
Whoa.
Kick them out.
We had gone camping that summer with a group that we're a part of, and of course Sam and Meg also go, but Greg and his new girlfriend also go. Sam and Meg got into a big fight that I got in the middle of to try and keep the peace. Meg was also upset about Greg's girlfriend being there, and she said some not so nice things about her in front of her kids, which then got back to Greg. It was a whole ordeal and just stressful. Never again, that's for sure. After the camping trip, we talked with Meg and let her know that we needed the spare room for the nursery since we would not force our teenage son to share a room with the new baby. She understood, and we had agreed that as long as I had 3 months before the birth to get the nursery in order, we were good. Well, I guess things weren't going so good with her and Sam, so she apparently started talking again with Greg. They had met up quite a few times behind Sam's back and slept together during the summer that I didn't even know about.
Meg and Greg?
Yeah.
Meg and Greg?
Meg and Greg. The divorced couple.
I'm getting them out of I'm getting both of them out of the friend group. I'm saying
Dude.
I'm going to the friends that were the good friends and saying, hey,
Yeah.
Meg and Greg are a mess. I don't want to be friends with either of them. Can we
Yeah.
just be friends again?
Yeah, exactly. If we're choosing sides,
Yeah,
I'm choosing people that are not involved.
Not them.
She expressed that both her and Greg wanted to try again, and she wanted her family back. I was supportive and tried to help and give advice, one being that if they want to try, they both need to break up with their flings. She kept putting it off, not wanting to hurt Sam, but seeing Greg behind his back and making plans to move back into Greg's house. Finally, I guess she told Sam that she was moving in with another friend so that we could have the nursery, and they got into an argument and Sam took his stuff and left. I guess that was her way of breaking up with him. I don't know. After breaking up with Sam, she seemed to have regrets and wasn't sure if she wanted to go back to Greg.
I hate her so much.
Either way, she finally moved out and back into Greg's house in the spare room. Here is where I start getting a little upset.
This is where you start getting upset?
This is where
I
you
was upset
start.
ages ago.
So long ago.
So long.
Oh my goodness, this woman. When she left, it took a few more weeks for her to take all her stuff, and we were now into December and the nursery wasn't ready, and I was due in January. We had a bunch of stuff from the shower that was stuffed into our garage. I did not feel prepared at all for this baby. The baby would be in our room for the first few months, but I wanted the nursery set up before the baby came so I could also access their stuff and have a space for them. I was hurt because going into the room the first time, I was shocked at the state of the room. I'm not an overly OCD clean person, but I do like my house to be tidy and in order. But the room was a mess. Trash was left behind. Holes in the wall. Nothing had been cleaned or dusted since she moved into the room. The room also has a private bathroom, and the bathroom was trashed. The light fixtures weren't working and were rusted. The sink was leaking and clogged. I was devastated, but we cleaned everything up, fixed what we could, and got the nursery ready in record time. The whole time during my pregnancy, she talked about how excited she was that we were having this baby, and she couldn't wait. My mom, dad, husband, Adam, and his partner Joseph were the only ones to help get the nursery ready. She didn't even help us paint or get things set up. She came by, got her stuff, and left. That was hurtful to me, but I was trying to be understanding that she didn't have the gas money and she had gotten another job to supplement income because the store was doing badly. In January, I had the baby and took maternity leave from the store. Her and Adam were part of my birthing team, but I ended up going to the hospital with complications. Her and Adam came to visit after the baby was born, but after that, I didn't hear from her or see her for over a month. I went back to the store after 7 weeks since she left her daughter in charge of the shop and to try to help when I could. During this time, the group of friends that we had become estranged with reached out and was checking on me and the baby regularly. Meg would contact me occasionally about the shop, and eventually she chose to close the shop permanently. Once the shop closed, I haven't really heard much from her. I started mending things with the friend group, and we have become close once again, and essentially everyone has gotten tired of the drama between Meg and Greg. I have heard from multiple people that Meg had been telling people that me and my husband did not help her much, and that we let her essentially starve, and how no one has been there for her.
Ooh, I would be so mad.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh-wee.
Not much.
Oh, I would be furious.
That is so insane. It really upset me to hear that. She sounded very ungrateful. But you know what will never upset me to hear is hearing you guys go to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and hearing our full episodes with more stories just like this one. Just search OK Storytime.
There we go.
You can hear all of our stories.
So true.
And there is a little bit more to the story, but my blood is boiling.
The audacity.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sending her a mean letter written in feather, ink.
Yeah.
And it's got one of those stamps.
Yep.
And there's like a thumbprint of blood on it. I don't know, for authenticity or something.
Sure.
And it says, "How dare you? You think that you can get away with this behavior? Oh, I'll release all of the information I have."
Oh my gosh. Terrible. I was told that she is back with Sam, but is still living with Greg.
Yeah, that's freaking messy.
I had essentially just given up on her and our friendship since she didn't seem to want to be a part of my life anymore. My birthday just passed and I figured she wouldn't reach out at all, but she made a Facebook post telling me happy birthday and how much she still loved me. I'm torn because I care about my friends and I try to be a good person. My friend Adam and I have talked about things and he thinks that she is just making a public spectacle on Facebook, trying to save face by making it seem like we are still close. Part of me wants to think that this may be her way of reaching out to me, even though she could have just easily texted me privately. Am I the a-hole for not being understanding of what she is going through and just cutting ties with her? Or should I give her the benefit of the doubt? And there's an update. Whoa.
Oh.
What?
A little baby update?
Little baby updates.
Cut her off.
Cut her off.
She literally lied about you. Cut her off.
You guys, you don't need to be dealing with this stupid high school, relationship drama.
She said, I don't care. Not only did she lie about you, she has taken advantage of your kindness, brought her boyfriend into your home, brought her relationship problems into your home.
Right.
It's too much. Bye.
So, on to our little update. She reached out to me today, and at first it was cordial and seemed like she was truly interested in things and maybe trying to reconnect. After the trivial chit-chat, she started fishing for information about one of the other friends in the group and about things going on in the group. When I didn't give her any information, she has abruptly stopped talking to me. I guess I answered my own question, and that is the end of that story.
And there you have it. She revealed her true self.
Wow. Yeah, just using ya for info on the friends that she wasn't good enough to keep.
Not.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Ay.
What a headache. Yeah, trash took itself out. You're fine.
My friend changed for the worst, so I quiet quit our friendship.
Yeah, just get out of there.
For context, we are both attracted to the same gender, it matters, and had a really strong friend group of 6 a few years ago. As attracted to the same gender people, your friend group really is your chosen family. We've had bumps in the road before, but we've worked through them. Fast forward a few years, and as seems common among friends as they age, we started hanging out less because people got busy with relationships, work, etc. I never had any issue with it because I felt like this was my family, and I knew that I could go to them for anything, anytime, no matter what. By the way, this comes from Banjo7405, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, our friend group was the type to go out on weekends, get a little too crazy, then recover on Sundays together with food and movies all day. We did a lot more than just that. Chill nights in, running errands together, going on trips. Heck, I even had this friend, we'll call him Danny, come over to my family's Thanksgiving when his family all got the vid. As our friend group slowed down how much we were going out, Danny started getting involved with another friend group. A rival friend group.
No.
I don't know how else to say it, but I generally do not enjoy being around these people. I really tried several times. I would join in with them, etc. They just seem like your classic mean girl types of attracted to the same genders. Going to the bars, being rude to people they didn't find attractive, talking badly about people.
Dang.
Making sure all the fun parts of their night ended up on social media. I tried to get to know them in several different settings, and they just didn't seem too interested in having me around either. Fine, not the end of the world. However, slowly but surely, my friend seemed as though he was becoming more like them. Saying things about people and treating people in ways I feel like he never would have before. This was the primary concern. Over the following months, it seemed like Danny was starting to consider me an afterthought. I'd text him to see what his plans were, and he would respond hours later, also unlike him, saying, oh, we're all at X bar. You can come if you want. Like, excuse me? I can go wherever I want as far as the bars go. But it was situations like that over and over of me initiating and him always making me feel like I was just that friend you don't really want around, but you invite because you feel like you kind of have to. One night I was at the bars and I went a little too far with my drinking, and Danny had to get me home. Is that okay? No, not really. It's something we've all done for each other over the years, and unfortunately at the time our mindset was kind of like, well, it happens sometimes, eat more before we go out next time. We've matured since then. I have heavy drinking in my family, and there have been some wake-up calls since then. A few days later, another weird invite situation happened, and I was starting to lose patience. I texted him and said, hey, I'm not really sure what's changed, but it feels like you really don't want to hang out with me anymore. Can we talk soon? He said, sure. Well, okay. We're about to crack this case wide open.
Yeah, I guess so.
We get on FaceTime and he says, I actually need to tell you something first. I'm not okay with you drinking like that anymore, and I don't want to have to take care of you. In the course of the conversation, he did call me a heavy drinker, which, reflecting back from over a year later, I can say was a little harsh. It scared me. I took a month off drinking completely, and I've made a lot of positive changes since. All that to say, that entire conversation was about that. And when he was done, he was like, okay, well, I'm here for you anyway. I have to go. Okay, so, I mean, it was seemingly somewhat helpful of a conversation,
I guess.
but just not what OP wanted to talk about.
Right.
And we never got to talk about the reason I initiated our conversation. I was still left in the dark, thinking, well, this must have been it for why it feels like you don't want to hang out with me. But there's a gap. We hung out sober all the time, so it couldn't just be that. After that, our relationship was pretty obviously strained. I started going crazy thinking about where I may be causing issues myself. Was I being controlling or possessive or jealous that he'd found new friends? Honestly, I thought this theory had some weight for a bit until I started hearing some of the things coming out of his mouth about other people. One of the comments he made was about a man who was stringing him along romantically, and he said, James isn't tall enough to be acting like that.
Come on, guys.
My friend would have never said that about someone months before, ever. I could tell my friend was changing, influenced by these people in ways that I didn't like, and more importantly, in ways that I don't think he would like if he took a step back. Months later, he saw me out with some coworkers with an adult soda in my hand and said, wow, I'm really proud of how you've been able to safely reintegrate drinking into your life. And it just made me so upset because he wasn't there for me during that time of reflection and self-discovery at all. For all he knew, I had just blacked out the night before. He didn't know at all, and it felt as though he was happy for me in that particular moment because I seemed fine, and I truly believed he was patting himself on the back a little bit for being the one that called it out. It just felt so assuming and weirdly violating at the same time. I moved apartments and ended up being much, much closer to him. I was 12 minutes away before and now lived in the same complex. And all of a sudden he wanted to hang out more. Who knew 12 minutes was an eternity? Given everything above, it felt like it was just becoming a friendship of convenience or loneliness. Wait, so you were 12 minutes away before, and now, okay, I will say, like, I do think there are deeper problems in this friendship.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, the friends that are very close to me versus, I think it's a little bit different in LA, but like when you're in like a big city that's walkable, I feel like 12 minutes versus same complex is a big deal when you're an adult, you know?
Yeah.
Like you do end up seeing those people way more just because of proximity.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I mean, like 12 minutes isn't that much, but obviously, like when you're in the same complex, it's like, oh, hey, like stop over really quick. And it doesn't have to be like a commitment.
No, like I obviously see Riley
right.
way more than I
Right.
see a lot of my, like, you know, I think I'm very intentional about seeing my friends, but I also know a lot of people who have trouble with that.
Right.
When you're like trying to do work and, you know, if you're in a relationship, it, like all of that stuff compounds.
All that kind of stuff.
Doesn't mean that you guys don't have a problem in your friendship though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But 12 minutes can be a lot for some people, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
When we would get together or even talk on the phone, every single conversation always seemed to revolve around him. I was going for a huge promotion. Career talks were always a huge part of our relationship since we have similar career mindsets and are in similar fields. And he didn't seem to care at all. Every conversation would start off being about him. He'd talk for sometimes 20 to 30 minutes straight about himself. He'd then pause and say, so how are you? Look at his text messages while I was answering. give a response like, oh, wow, that's crazy, and then change the subject back to himself. That you guys aren't friends anymore.
Yeah.
And I think unless you're willing to have that conversation again that you wanted to have,
Right.
I think it's just time to, like, when people aren't giving you the same energy and it's consistent, just take a step back. It's not about you. It's about
Right.
them.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe it's not even personal. Maybe they just don't have time and they're putting their time elsewhere.
Right.
For whatever reason, they can't give you or don't want to give you that time
Mm-hmm.
and don't invest in a place where it's not wanted
Yeah. It
or being
seems like
reciprocated.
you guys are just growing apart.
Yeah.
You are.
And it sucks. But
Yeah.
It happens.
You're growing towards different people and different values and stuff, and he's not being a good friend.
Yeah. All the while, I'm still the person he's FaceTiming crying at 2 a.m. while he's wasted walking home from a bar over the same boy over and over and over and over. The friendship just more and more felt like I was giving and he was receiving. The balance felt like our friendship was 99% about him and 1% about me. Right after we had both moved into our current apartment complex, he had the idea that we should throw a housewarming party. I agreed. He sat on my couch and started planning while I was meal prepping for the week. Well, he made the entire guest list without asking for any input. I said, well, did you invite X? Did you invite Y? And that was about the only contributions of mine he accepted. I checked our particle about a week later, and all of a sudden he decided on an entire theme as well. The week of the party, I offered to help, get snacks, etc. He'd already gotten all the decorations for the theme he invented without any input. Both before and after the party, I offered to send him money for it, which he just ignored. Night of the party, he treats me like he hired me to help or something. Has me running up and down stairs to get things like tape, wine opener, etc., while he's entertaining. And who was invited? You guessed it. This group of friends that does not like me, and at this point, vice versa. So I left. I left quietly. I didn't make a scene. There was no point in doing that, but it wasn't our party. It was his party, and he knew that. He texted me to ask where I went, and I said, I'm sorry, this is not our party. This is your party, and I'm not comfortable with those people, so I left quietly so as not to make a scene. He texted back, I'm sorry, sad face, and that was it. So I started to pull back. Good. This is what you do.
Yeah.
It sucks, but it's like there are people out there who want to be your friends and want to reciprocate the love and affection and time and effort that you're putting into those friendships.
Exactly.
And it just takes time to find them.
Yep.
In past conflicts between this particular friend and other members of our original friend group, where I was often a mediator, he's been particularly stubborn. He has said that people should have to come to him if they want him in his life. So that's not how it works. You're not the queen.
Yeah.
It's a mutual effort.
Right. People aren't just going to come to you if they want you in their life. It's not clear that you want them in your life.
He has a really hard time seeing things through the eyes of other people until something really drastic happens. That, coupled with everything that had been happening, made me feel like any effort to talk to him would just be pointless and frustrating. Looking back, this is probably where the adult thing would have been to just have the conversation. But at this point, it was exhausting me. It was causing me anxiety, and I just felt like the only thing I could do to protect my peace was to slowly back out of the friendship. I honestly think there are times where you should have a conversation. Like if I had a problem with one of my best friends and they, like something they did irked me, I would go talk to them. I would say, hey, I didn't really like when you did that thing.
Right.
We'd hash it out, make up.
Right.
I think that if you had wanted to address this, should have done it when you first noticed these things. Should have been like, hey, I didn't really like how you said that thing. That was kind of rude.
Yeah.
I think at this point, it's not your fault, but at this point, it's like a conversation's not going to do anything, really. I mean, sometimes it can, but like...
Yeah, well, because, I mean, they try to have that conversation.
Yeah, and it didn't work, so... At this point, I think sometimes quietly backing out of friendship is just... You just stop reciprocating and they realize, oh, OP was putting in all the effort.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I think that's a great choice, OP.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He'd asked to hang out on a Saturday morning, and I'd explain I was meal prepping or doing errands, and he was welcome to join, and I'd make him coffee. And he would change his mind about hanging out. He stopped inviting me to things, and I stopped inviting him. Slowly, our friendship just fell away to nothing. I unfollowed him on social media, not to be petty, but because every time I saw his posts and him doing things, it just made me sad. Around Thanksgiving, one of our original friend group friends, we'll call him Frank, was coming into town. He'd moved halfway across the country since the old days, and so I was prepared to put on a happy face, play nice, and be around Danny. We did. That night was mostly fine. Then at 2 a.m., Danny wasted, him not me, my drinking is slowed way down, says, I know we're not good right now, but whenever you're ready to talk, so am I. Never. I don't have anything to say.
Yeah, it's like, well,
You missed that chance.
It's hard because he's bringing up talking about it. It kind of seems like maybe he does want to salvage things, but he just doesn't understand like what he's doing, you know? Like it's not just a conversation.
But I also think that even in saying that, I know we're not good right now, but whenever you're ready to talk, so am I.
Yeah.
I think for some people it'd be like, oh, that's really nice. But I feel like because we know his character, it feels like, come to me and do it.
Right. He's not like, hey, can we talk? Like,
yeah, like, hey, I want to talk about this. I want to fix this. It's like, okay, when you're, come to me.
Yeah. Interesting.
I was flabbergasted, but also pretty annoyed. The high road would have been to take the opportunity, but I was just so mad that the only time he had the nerve to say anything to me was wasted at 2 a.m. I told him it wasn't the time. At Christmas, same situation, Frank in town. We see Danny at the bar with his friends. I said something to him, an excited hello kind of thing, and he looked me in the eyes and turned away. For me, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. In that moment, our friendship was long gone with no chance of things coming back in my mind. Cut to this week. I get a text message from another friend in the original friend group, we'll go with Sean, that says, guess who I just had coffee with? Immediately I knew. Sean was really impressed by how remorseful our friend was. He had basically burned us all in different ways over the year and cut out and been cut out by all of us individually. And Sean, in my experience with him, was not the type to easily forgive or trust that someone's actually sorry. I was shocked. Sean said that they talked about me and that he was very sorry and knew he needed to talk to me, but didn't have the courage to send the text message to ask to get coffee or whatever. Sean agreed that he would text me about the situation first. Honestly, I'd be like, thanks for passing that over, Sean. Whenever he's ready to text me, we'll see how I feel about it. But don't, again, it feels like he wants you to reach out first.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm just not interested in putting in that effort to the friendship anymore.
Yeah.
That's all.
I understand not having the courage, but after all of this, where communication has been the issue on both sides at times, to be fair, and using Sean to warm me up essentially really got on my nerves yet again. However, I get it. These conversations are hard, and as the person who was often the mediator in our group, I do think it's hard to have conflict with me because I was usually the one coaching these guys on how to have hard conversations. Use I think, I feel statements instead of accusatory ones. Don't make assumptions about what motivated someone's actions. Use specific examples like, when you did this, it made me feel this way, whether or not that was the intent. I think that intimidates him a little bit, and I can understand that. So here's where I am, Reddit. It's been 2 days since Sean and Danny had coffee, and I still haven't heard from him. I have so many mixed feelings about the situation, but deep down, I feel like the conversation would be good regardless of how it results. I have had a lot of pent-up anger over the situation, as well as extreme sadness. This has hit me harder than any relationship breakup in my adult life, and I feel like the conversation would give me closure. My current plan, should he reach out, is to agree to the conversation. I want to start it off by saying that I'm not there to just dunk on him. I want to have an open and honest conversation about how we both experienced the last year, take accountability for the quiet quitting, and not starting conversations sooner. This may not be right, but I don't actually regret my decisions around pulling back. But I do feel like I need to apologize because it was probably hurtful and or confusing for him at the time. Again, I really don't think it's your problem. I think it's really sweet that you care, but I feel like that's just like your personality. Seems to be like, oh, I gotta make things right. I gotta do the emotional lifting again.
Right. But yeah, like if he was confused by it, then it's like, that's, yeah, you don't
then
have
he should have reached out. He could have texted you.
Right. Right.
I don't know. You like unfollowed him, but you didn't block him. He could have texted you.
Yeah.
Could have reached out. I also want to say out of the gate that I'm not sure where we go after the conversation, but the one thing I do know is that I'm not going to be able to just full force jump back into the friendship and fully trust him so quickly. However, I also don't want him to feel like he has to say the right things or say what I want to hear. I just want him to be genuine, and I want to make sure I make him comfortable enough to do that, even if those genuine things may be, well, not great. By the way, you know what is great? Listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime.
Do it.
There is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
Friend breakups are blah.
They suck.
They suck.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just happens. It
Yeah.
happens. You just fall apart. I mean, like if you really did want to say something to him, you can just be totally honest. Like, Yeah, honestly, like I haven't really felt like putting effort in recently because I never really felt like I got that effort back from you. Because of all of that, like I'm kind of okay with leaving the friendship alone.
Yeah.
If you want to continue the friendship, you would just have to show me that because it's kind of hard to believe right now. You know,
I agree. Another part of me says, is it even worth it? Does he deserve this type of closure? Does he deserve the opportunity to explain himself, or do I stick my pew-pews on protecting my peace? I realized while typing I'm not at peace. Not really, but more peaceful than I was when he was around. Do I do this for my own closure? So Reddit, I'm coming to you for advice. How do I move forward? How do I best set up the conversation to achieve what I've said above? How do I communicate my feelings in a way that won't put him on defense? How do I know what to do next once the conversation is had? Thank you for any advice you may have. And I think my last thoughts is, if you feel that you need that conversation, then have the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing I'm going to say about moving on or whatever is, if you feel that you need it, have it.
right?
But I think also know that the options are not never talk to him again or become his best friend.
Right.
Those aren't the only options.
Yeah.
There's also the middle ground of have the conversation, hash it out.
Right.
And now maybe it's not so awkward next time you see him in a group setting, but you're not besties.
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay. You don't have to be close anymore.
Exactly.
I broke up with my boyfriend because he stopped doing the little things.
Was he doing the big things?
Oh. He, 21 male, and I, 20 female, have been together since junior year of high school.
Dang.
We have lived together at his childhood home with his mother and siblings for the past 2 years. Yikes. Overall, our relationship is pretty harmonious. When I talk to other people about their significant others, I'm usually thanking my lucky stars for the guy I've got because we're compatible in so many ways and we rarely fight. By the way, this comes from user Go Ask Absalom. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Sophia.
And I'm Keon.
Let's see what OP has to say. We all contribute equally to running the house, which means I'm deeply involved in his dynamic. I'm always willing to help around the house and contribute positively to everyone's needs, especially my boyfriend's. I'm a people pleaser in all dimensions of my life, including our relationship. My boyfriend is not. I often joke that he must have some form of oppositional defiant disorder. I know this isn't a joke. For those with actual diagnoses, please don't take offense. Too late. They're offended. Because it feels like the majority of non-essential requests I make receive flat no's in response. Basic things, like borrowing his laptop or asking him to pick something up on his way home, aren't the issue. But when I ask about girly stuff, for lack of a better description, like going on double dates with my friends or seeing my family,
What?
he utterly shuts down without explanation. I'm never graced with details, like, I don't want to hang out with so-and-so because she annoys me, or your uncle's jokes aren't funny. He just straight up shuts down and says something like, nah, I'm all set, not gonna happen, or a flat out, and no way. Here's the most recent example. My family threw a graduation party for me for college and my twin cousins for high school. Since my boyfriend also graduated from college this year, my mom wanted to celebrate his achievements as well. She even painted his name on the beautiful congratulations banner alongside mine and my cousins, and he was included in the shower of cards and gifts from aunts and uncles. My family has accepted him as one of us in the warmest way possible, and my mother lovingly refers to him as her son. This would have been fantastic if my boyfriend had been willing to attend. I gave him several weeks' notice, even a 3-day countdown. He refused to attend and wouldn't justify or give any valid reasons why, other than the non-obligatory plans he made the same day for the sole purpose of avoiding the party.
She's like, I'm going to the DMV.
Like,
She's like, when did you make those plans? Last week, but I gotta
not
go.
even, bro. He's like, nah, I'm just walking. I'm doing a walk-in. I just decided
I've got my
today's the
daily
day.
walk. And she's like, you've never had a daily walk before. He's like, you gotta start sometime.
Gotta start sometime.
Gotta start.
I mean, it sounds like the guys for sure got some kind of like aversion to
Avoidance.
Yeah, he just wants to
Emotions.
not be having any emotions or
It's just weird behavior for a person that you've been in a relationship with for 6 years.
yeah, at this point, yeah.
About 6 years, and he doesn't want to see your family or your friends.
That's kind of just like, if you don't see the issue with that, boyfriend, then that's the issue in and of itself.
Yeah.
I was at a loss for how to deal with this besides attempting verbal communication when I got home. I showed him the banner. I gave him the cards. I mentioned that my friends, a couple who will come into the story again soon, even brought his favorite drinks to share because I'd mentioned it to them before. I told him how much everyone missed him and how awkward it was for me to continually make excuses for why he didn't come to a party thrown partially in his honor. In return, I got a half-bootied apology and the subject was changed. I remained defeated because I didn't throw the pathetic crying fit brewing in my head. Those never get anyone anywhere. Fast forward to today. The same couple, I've hung out with both of them, talked positively about my boyfriend, and they've been just itching to meet him. Suggested a double date for tomorrow night. I asked my boyfriend, and his answer was, I'm willing to go out with you, but I don't want to see anyone else. Mind you, he hasn't even met these people, and I've never had the chance to tell him much about them. We see each other every single day, so it isn't like he misses me or we're lacking alone time. I tried several different angles to convince him it could be fun. We've never been to the drive-in before. This cool movie's playing. It's only $6. We can schmick in the
You
car.
shouldn't have to bribe your partner to meet your friends.
And this is what you will learn when you stop dating the guy you've been with since junior year.
Yeah.
And
Who hasn't grown since junior year.
is basically acting like, I don't know, he would like to pretend you're not in a relationship in every aspect of his life outside of the time he spends with you directly.
Yeah.
Jane and John are like such cool people. I think you'd get along great. Brick wall. I'm all set with that. Just stop. Stop. I'm not going. No explanation or justification. No flexibility for different plans, a different night, or any compromise whatsoever. My boyfriend is not, never has been, and never will be a quote-unquote whipped guy. And that's the last thing I'd want from a relationship. We lead independent, productive lives with separate jobs, friends, and school. This has worked for almost 5 years now. Has it, though?
No.
I rarely ask for our friend groups to cross, precisely because I know this is the result. I'll occasionally tag along on adventures with his buddies, and I ultimately see more of his friends at our house than my own group because he invites them over to work on cars and bikes in our garage. But if I try to reverse the situation and invite him out with my friends in co-ed situations, I'm not asking us to join him for mani-pedis at the mall. He refuses to participate. If I have my friends over, he busies himself with anything but what we are doing. The same system applies to family. If he's seeing relatives or having dinner with his parents, I'm almost always involved and welcomed. If I'm doing the same with my family, it's like pulling teeth to get him to participate. How do I effectively tell him that he's being a complete wiener without sounding like just another typical whiny girlfriend? And there are relevant comments. Girl, I don't think you're at that point. I think you're at the point of we should go our separate ways.
Yes. I think he's a lost cause. Leave him. You've been with him for 6 years. He's your high school boyfriend. You guys are different people.
Yeah.
You've grown apart. You've matured. He is not.
Not everyone out there is like this.
No.
This is not like a...
This is not normal.
It's not even close to normal.
And he's convinced her that this is some type of like girly,
Yeah.
whipped like, no.
No,
If
and
your
it's-
partner is using terms like that's girly or, oh, you're just trying to like, dominate me in this relationship and I'm a man, like, no.
Yeah, he's isolating you, like, in a way.
Yes.
He's just like slowly trying to make you like just pick him over all of your friends and all of your family.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's not going to get any better as time goes on. We've got relevant comments. The Birds says, this sounds awful. I hate to be the person who jumps to break up, but he really doesn't seem like he's considerate of you or your feelings at all in terms of integrating himself into your life outside of his own. He knows these things are important to you, and yet he doesn't budge an inch. I think you need to have a serious convo about this. Does he have social anxiety, or is it just that he doesn't feel like going? Maybe you can get to the bottom of this and have a compromise, though it doesn't seem hopeful if you have to drag him tooth and nail to participate in these things. Perhaps, though, he doesn't quite see the severity of the issue yet. Can you imagine a future with someone who won't ever integrate your lives fully? OP says, on the grand scheme of our relationship, I don't think this is enough for me to break it off. At least not yet. There have been times when he's come along on these kinds of outings and he was fine after the initial teeth pulling to get him going. I don't think it's a social anxiety thing because I'm quite certain it's him saying to himself, I could sit through a movie with these people I don't know, or I could go do X fun thing with my buddies instead. I'm already fully aware that he's selfish in this way, and this is the most detrimental manifestation of his selfishness in our relationship. Oh, so there's others. In many other areas, he does put me first and considers my feelings, and this doesn't go unseen for me. I appreciate the crap out of what he does right. Maybe that's why this sticks out as so god-awful and painful, because it really is my only consistent complaint. Regarding your last point, that really is the scary part. I don't think I can, and I know better than to demand change. When OP was asked about the banner and told she is being submissive, OP says, yeah, my mom hung it up for the whole party to see. I was tempted to take the section with his name down, but it was too late. Listen to yourself there. I don't want this post to reflect too poorly on our relationship because, as I've mentioned in other comments, we're not entirely broken. Past issues between us that I've addressed have been taken care of head on, and he does contribute positive effort to the relationship in other areas.
Find a new bank.
Just not this one as of late. I just need more info. Where's the positivity?
Yeah, if you can't name the positivity, I'm not going to believe there is any.
If your assessment of my submissive role is correct, what's your advice for addressing it? I want to assert to you that I'm not a complete doormat with him. I dang near moved out and left him last summer because of a lack of action on a totally different issue, and when he realized I was serious, he made the changes that needed to be made, and we haven't really fought about much until this point. And when I say we haven't really fought, I mean we haven't fought because there wasn't anything to fight about. I wasn't just sweeping things under the rug for the sake of harmony. We have been having a very harmonious year since the last shakeup. But realistically, I can't just throw around ultimatums and pack my bags every 6 months when I don't get my way. So, how do I shake him back to reality without getting overly dramatic?
Break up.
I have a theory here.
Is it break up?
It sounds like you went through a near breakup recently.
Yes.
And I bet you, I don't know how he was with your friends before, but I bet you if your friends were on your side and your family was on your side, he might be taking that personally and holding a grudge about it.
But he's never met them,
Yeah,
it's
but
not like
now
he,
this is like the
seeing them.
Oh, well, I wouldn't meet them because it's disrespectful for them to have talked down about me.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, get over yourself.
Really, regardless of what the reason is, I think you should break up with him.
Yeah, no, that's still like a stinky little, that doesn't
Yeah.
justify anything. It's just more like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe that's where
Maybe
this
that's why.
crazy, resistance to being around these people is coming from.
Agreed.
But you know what? I'll never give you any resistance if you want to go listen to full episodes with stories like this one on Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Because all you have to do is search OK Storytime, and then you can listen to the entire archive, over 70 days worth of stories to listen to.
Yeehaw, cowboys.
But, there's an update 6 days later. I hope it's a breakup.
I hope so.
I just wanted to thank everyone who took the time to respond and offered their advice. After a long talk, the result was to break up because he doesn't feel the same way about me anymore.
Yay! But
Slowly over time, you will change the meaning of that to, the breakup was, I realized he was a loser.
yeah,
I'm heartbroken, but my brain understands and accepts his reasons. I don't feel like writing the entire saga out. I just wanted to offer an update and thank everyone who was kind enough to try and help. And we have some final comments. Ashrik says, I'm sorry if I sprinkled doubt on you, but him saying that he's breaking up because he doesn't have feelings for you the same way anymore is as much a cop-out as his previous no explanations. He was never willing to go to these events with you, so it's not a result of a change in how he felt about you. So either he never felt that way about you, or he was so loath to explore or explain the issue that he saw breaking up as the easiest way out. Interesting. Consider this a bullet dodged. Agreed.
agreed.
A deleted user says, hopefully we'll still be friends. I don't understand. To him, you were nothing more than a walking, talking, spicy sleep toy that paid half the bills for a long time. He was with you until you started getting upset at his horrendous neglect. Then when you stopped being a prop by talking about how he made you feel, he decided to finally tell you that he'd lost interest in you. Your ex is a stinky doo-doo boy.
I agree.
Yes, and that is the end of that story. My friend belittled my career. Now she wants to apologize.
I won't even accept it if you do.
For backstory, I, female, just turned 29, and my former bestie, female 28, had a falling out nearly 3 years ago, which effectively ended our 15-year-long friendship. We had had plenty of petty arguments before that over the years, but for whatever reason, this one ended up being the final straw for us. By the way, this comes from user T and Tears on the r/Charlotte Dobre YouTube subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Angie.
And I'm
Angie.
Riley.
I'm Angie.
I'm Dakota.
That was such a mess.
And OP says, at the time, Bestie had been taking dance classes and had invited me to attend her performances. There were 2 performances, one being the final weekend of April and the other being the first weekend of May. April and May is the busiest time at my job except for December, and my coworkers and I are all expected to work extra hours during that time period, including mandatory overtime shifts on the weekends. I explained to her that this meant I would only be able to attend one of the shows, lest I risk being fired, as one former coworker had already been the previous season. And she should pick her favorite, and I would request the day or afternoon off that weekend, but would not be able to get the time off to see both. She was fine with this and chose the May show. Some weeks later, however, she was chatting about how excited she was for the performances and that I should actually really come to the April one, which was to occur the following week. I explained in Goo Goo Gaga baby language that I had already requested time for the May show. And I reiterated that it was not possible for me to come to both, and at this point it was too late for me to change the requested schedule. I know not everyone will approve of me putting my job ahead of my friend, but I really, really did not want to risk being fired.
I feel like that's totally fine. I approve. Because it's not like you're ignoring your friend. You're like, yeah, I'll go. Just I can't go this time. I can only go this time.
You didn't put your job above your friend at all. You literally were like, I will make sure I can go to one of your shows. And then she told you, actually, don't go to that one. Go to this one.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, hey, I don't know if you know how the world works. I can't just flip that around in the busiest time of the year.
Don't work like that.
Yeah. I had already been fired from my previous full-time job and struggled with being unemployed and underemployed for nearly 2 years before finally being hired at this one. And I had and still have no confidence that I would be able to land another job that was even close to as good a fit for me as this one was, nor one that would pay any kind of living wage. On top of this, my father had also been unemployed for some of the same time, so I was extra nervous about losing my position. This is when things began to get uncomfortable. Bestie then pivoted and started asking how much money I make, what kind of benefits, etc. I asked her why she wanted to know, and she said she wanted to get a sense for what to look for as she would also be seeking a new job soon. It felt like a fake reason. And part of me knew I was being set up for some kind of trap, but I didn't want to believe my best friend would try to manipulate me. I was uncomfortable, mentioned that I wasn't raised to talk openly about money with others, but still provided some vague answers for her. I wished I hadn't, because she then started doing calculations to figure out how many decades it would take me to earn enough money to purchase a condo or small house. I struggle with depression, and this makes setting and achieving goals difficult for me. And she knew purchasing a small home for myself was quite literally the only goal I had at the time. It hurt my feelings a lot that she basically implied the one and only thing I was working for was a useless pipe dream, but being petty, I pretended I didn't understand what the connection was to the original situation. She seemed to believe I was really that dumb and decided to stop speaking to me until I figured it out.
Ah, the good old silent treatment.
So this little dumb girl is trying to say, well, I mean, it's not like your job can even pay for a house like you want. So why would you not get your shift switched around so that you could go to the one show, even though I already told you that you should go to the other one?
Right. It's like, I'm sorry, how much money are you making from this show?
Slam dunked.
I was a theater kid. I support it. However, if you're going to come at me for my money as an artist, girl, you got it. You can't.
Over a situation you are creating.
Yeah.
I already told you. Tell me which one you want me to be at. You told me that one. And now you're like, this one.
You're pulling the switcheroony.
And now you're going to try to be like,
fair.
well, your job you're not even ever going to be able to get a house from working here, so why do you even care?
Yeah. Like, okay, well, now I'm not going to go to either, stupid.
Yeah. Now, my conflict avoidant, people-pleasing behind felt awful that we had fought so badly, and I still attended one of her shows, even though we hadn't spoken all week. I thought we would reconcile everything soon and didn't want our fight to spoil her big night. So I went, texted her that she did great and I enjoyed it, and she was happy that I came. She told me she was still a bit angry, and I said I was still hurt, but we could talk about it the next day. I did not talk to her the next day, or for the next 2 weeks. In these few days, I noticed that every time Bestie and I argued, it was almost always me who had to apologize first and admit fault for the situation. I'm not trying to say I was a perfect friend by any means, and I know all friends fight sometimes, but logically, I think in a relationship involving two people, each would likely be the instigator about 50% of the time. She had hurt my feelings a lot this time and hadn't even acknowledged that. Even when I told her straight up, she only acknowledged her own anger. After 2 weeks of reflection, I realized I probably came across as not caring about something she's passionate about, although that wasn't my intent, so I apologized for that and nothing else. She never replied, and I never spoke to Bestie again. Girl, you had nothing to apologize for.
Really? Yeah.
You literally made plans. You're like, okay, I'll go to the May show.
Yeah.
And then she said, no, he's just going to the April show.
Yeah,
And you go, well, I have this thing called a job where I work and get paid for my job.
Low key would be nice to know if this friend is living on her own, because if she isn't, she doesn't have those responsibilities at home.
Dude, yeah. That would be a perfect thing to throw in her face.
Yeah.
Can you?
Well, not to throw in her face, but just to realize she doesn't really know how the adult world works.
Yeah.
You can't buy groceries and it 20% be yogurt and 70% wine.
And it's like,
Yeah, it's
girl,
probably that one.
you pointing out that this job I have can't pay for my house. You know what's really not going to help? Getting fired from it.
Yeah.
Because I am unreliable because I flip-flopped on the day that I wanted to take off.
And then spending the little money I have on your show.
Yeah.
On a ticket to your show.
So Bestie is gone MIA permanently. It hurt a lot to be ignored like that on top of the original fight, and it made me feel like I was disposable. It has embarrassingly affected my other friendships, as I am always a bit anxious now that other friends can drop me just as easily out of the blue, that I am disposable and not worth maintaining a friendship with. No, girl, that girl was just trash. I did realize, though, that there were many other moments over the years where she had made me feel bad about myself in one way or another. And over time, I have come to feel we both brought up some of the worst qualities in each other. And we were both better off living separate lives. But yesterday, I received a little letter in the mail from Bestie. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 3 pages, single-spaced, apologizing and saying that she missed me. She took accountability for most of what happened except for one thing. She zeroed in on how I was going on and on about how important my job was, and she interpreted me saying I wasn't raised to speak about money as some kind of jab implying I was raised better than her, which was not my intent. She called my faux pas classist and demeaning. She talked for over half a page about that alone, to the point where her apology earlier in the letter now felt a bit hollow, as if this, like everything else, was my fault. She concluded the letter saying she would understand if I've given up on her, but hopes we can be friends again. Truthfully, I don't want to be friends again. I still care about her and wish her a good life, and the recovering people pleaser in me wishes we could resolve everything. But I honestly think I would hate myself just a little if I let her back into my life. So now I have a choice to make. Do I acknowledge the letter and explain that I don't want to be friends again, or do I toss it in the recycling bin and ignore it completely? At this point, I just want to minimize the pain either action would cause me or her, and would appreciate some advice. And by the way, I'll always give you the same advice, that you can listen to full episodes with stories like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, and you've got the whole archive at your fingertips.
Oh, yeah.
There's a little bit more story here. And honestly, I would be like, no, don't respond. Throw it in the trash. It's whatever.
Yeah.
Move on.
Right. If you're reflecting and you're finding parts of your friendship where you felt bad about yourself and that you bring out the worst in each other, that's not something that you want to like jump right back into, especially after this mess.
Yeah, especially since you said it yourself. The letter kind of felt hollow after she went off on you about being classist and rude
She mailed
for something
that,
that honestly, she could have clarified that in real time in 5 seconds.
That's crazy.
In that moment.
That's
So what did you mean by that? Are you implying something? And you go, no. What are you? No, I'm just trying. I don't want to talk about my job.
She said, I'll show her. I won't text her, but I'll because I'm too busy writing this letter.
I'm too busy writing this letter. Edit. I really appreciate all the advice and insight most people in the comments have provided. I should clarify that if I were to respond, it would only be something simple along the lines of, I appreciate your apology and still care for you, but we can no longer go back to how things were. Have a good life. OP. As much as I wish I could forget entirely about her, it's hard to imagine myself intentionally hurting someone who once meant so much to me, especially when I know about and have a lot of empathy regarding the other hardships in her life. Basically, it seemed cruel to me to be so direct, but it also seemed cruel to leave her in suspense like she had left me. I have decided to follow the consensus of the comment section and just toss the letter out. Just not worth it. Someone did express concern that she might believe I didn't receive it and try to interact again. But if that happens, I will just have to be more stern and put an end to it more clearly. And yeah, good job. You did the right thing, I think.
You can finish the job and just burn it for her.
Yeah, you can burn the letter.
Yeah, there you go.
You can just write your letter back that says LOL okay and then burn that one.
Burn it. Yeah. Exactly.
But folks,
yeah,
that is the end of that story.
That is the end.
My boyfriend's ex wants to be friends with me, but I don't.
Then don't be friends.
And this comes directly from the OK Storytime subreddit. I, 22, female to male, was the a-hole back in high school when I first met my boyfriend, 21, also female to male, freshman year. It was before either of us came out as gender diverse guys, and so we were just both nerdy bis with a lot in common. Sounds like the start of a great friendship. Except he is the only person I've ever experienced love at first sight for. By the way, this comes from ActiveTask4426. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
And I'm Keon.
As soon as I saw him, I was attracted to him and wanted to date him. Only problem, he had a girlfriend. They'd been dating since 8th grade, but it was clear they weren't very romantic. They acted more like best friends than romantic partners. My partner, at the time crush, who I'll call Alex, complained to me about this, saying that they wanted to be more serious romantically with Phoebe, also fake name, but that she just wasn't interested in that. So I did an admittedly bad thing and began flirting with Alex behind Phoebe's back, becoming good friends with them both with the intention to steal Alex.
Ooh, that's messy, OP.
Petty high school stuff that I've since outgrown. To be clear, I didn't like Phoebe, where me and Alex had a lot in common, not just shows and things we liked, but in our passion for writing and how we communicated. Phoebe and I had common interest, but we liked these things for different reasons. The things I disliked about shows and movies were her favorite parts, etc. Despite not liking her, I pretended to be very close with her so I could be close to Alex.
OP, that's kind of psycho.
1 year later, and it worked! Alex broke up with Phoebe and asked me out. Note, he asked Phoebe if it would be okay to ask me out after they broke up, and Phoebe said it was fine and they worked better as friends anyway. I said yes, and me and my partner have been together since the start of sophomore year. After this, I began to distance myself from Phoebe, stopped responding to messages and invites to hang out. I still hung out with her and Alex together during high school, but once we graduated, I stopped seeing her completely. Fast forward to now. Me and Alex are going strong. Despite my childish way of getting him, he is truly my person and I love him so much. He is still friends with Phoebe, but they aren't as close. I didn't learn why until recently. Over the years, Phoebe has tried to hang out and tried to get me to be her friend, and as I've matured and realized what I did was wrong, the guilt had built up, so with Alex's permission, I sent a long text telling the truth.
Ooh, no.
How I never really wanted to be their friend. How I'd only done it to get Alex.
Wait, I'm sorry. How I...
You didn't have to add that blow into it. I apologized and explained that I feel awful for leading them on and for ignoring them for so long. I sent it expecting an angry text back, but instead She said she understood. Fast forward a few months and I get more texts from Phoebe asking to hang out.
Oh, is she trying to steal her ex back? Oh, man.
I ignored them at first, but as they got more pushy, even asking Alex to get me to respond, Alex, for his part, said he would pass the message along, but it wasn't his business, and if I wasn't responding, that was my choice. He knows I don't like her, and he accepts that we just don't jive as people. I finally responded, reiterating that I had been leading her on as far as friendship goes, and that although I was sorry for my behavior in the past, I didn't really have time for a friendship now. I was trying to be nice at this point. I had to send a similar message 2 months later. Then, when she invited me to her 21st birthday party, saying Alex would be there as a way to entice me into coming, I was very blunt. I'm not direct quoting everything for anonymity, but I will direct quote some things like this. I sent her a text saying, "Hey, so the last thing I want is to damage your relationship with Alex. It's why I've been hesitant to say anything, but I admitted to you how I felt about our friendship in high school and my true intentions back then, expecting things to end there, but they haven't. I don't want to hurt you, and I genuinely am glad you're getting yourself out there and everything, but I'm not your friend, Phoebe. I never was. And it's not right, but it's the truth. It's how I feel. I barely keep up with friendships with people that don't go to my school, and at least on my end, our bond was always artificial. So I'm sorry, but I can't go to your party because while I'm sure it would be fun, I would only be going because Alex is going, and that isn't fair to you. It isn't. You deserve friends that give you more than one-word responses. Once again, I'm sorry for hurting you."
Honesty is a quality. It could be a good, it could be bad, but it's
So you're still really harsh. On the other hand,
guy.
why is she still trying though? She responded saying I didn't hurt her and that back then she could tell I was only around for Alex. She said, "However, I thought something could grow from that, but if that's where you want to end it, okay." I thought finally she had understood. Then a week ago, I get a message from her asking to meet in person to catch up and fix unresolved things between us. I was confused because on my end, we had resolved everything. I messaged back and said I don't want there to be bad blood between us, but that I didn't want to meet in person. And if there were problems she wanted to discuss, I'd be happy to hash it out over text. She once again pushed to meet in person, saying that she hadn't seen me in forever and she wanted to hear how I was doing. I thought I had been blunt but polite the last time.
Well,
I don't know.
you certainly were blunt.
The last time, but it seemed she still wasn't getting it. So I responded with an admittedly harsh message, but in my defense, I had told this girl in every nice and polite way I could
Oh, Pete.
that I didn't want to be her friend. Only reason I let it go on so long is because I know she is still important to my partner. But I was at my breaking point. So I said, I won't hang out at your place. I won't catch up with you. Phoebe, you are a nice person. I've said it before, but I made it clear we are not friends. I don't want to be friends. I'm sorry that's harsh, but I've tried to be nice, to walk around the issue for the sake of you and my partner, but I'm just so lost as to why you think we should catch up like old pals. We aren't and were never true friends. It's the truth, and I can't be nice about it anymore. She went nuclear. Responding with, I've tried being nice to you as well, and I can't be nice about it anymore. The way you carry yourself is cowardice and cocky. You couldn't be bothered to talk to me in real life like a person. I want to see what Alex sees in you, but I just can't. Every person you interact with has left a bad taste in their mouth, and it's not their fault. You've only played people like chess pieces. Not once have you denied that. Have fun changing for the better if you have at all. This was extremely out of character for someone who constantly said it was fine and that I hadn't done anything wrong and everything was fine even when I apologized. I wrote back, wow, what a shocking thing to say. I was like that when I was 15, but I've grown as a person enough to know and say, hey, I don't want to be your friend. Sorry. It's not that I don't view you as a person.
What?
It's just that that's simply all I have to say. I wish you the best, but I don't have to give you a chance to be friends just because I feel guilty for manipulating you over 5 years ago. I admit I manipulated you back then, which is why I came clean to stop leading you on, but you kept coming back asking to hang and be friends when I tried to be clear. You really hit deep with that comment about leaving a bad taste in people's mouths. That was a low thing to say, especially when I have nothing bad to say about you. We just don't jive as people together, and I've always recognized that. So you attacking me for setting boundaries is quite immature. I would appreciate if you don't contact me again. Once again, I wish you the best.
What is this game? It seems like a very bad game.
You're my main guy.
As I was about to block her, she said that I could have at least done it over call because she wanted to see if I had really changed as a person. I simply responded that I don't owe her that. She doesn't have to see who I am now because I don't want a relationship with her. Then I blocked her. I told my boyfriend about all of this and he said something shocking. He said months ago when I sent the last nice message, politely declining an invite to hang out, so before I was blunt with the party situation, Phoebe had called him saying he should dump me because I'm harmful and toxic and tried to claim I was attacking her verbally over text. My boyfriend shut that down because I had talked to him every time she reached out to me to make sure I wasn't being too harsh. By the way, you can always reach out for full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, your favorite podcast app, and search OK Storytime. He had seen what I had been sending her, and none of it was impolite. She then said that she had only said that to make him see reason, but that I was still a bad person who doesn't deserve him. My boyfriend said he loved me and wasn't going to leave me. Then Phoebe said, well, if he ever does anything to you, I'll handle it. I know where he lives, works, and goes to school. This is why my boyfriend isn't as close with her anymore.
This is concerning.
It's because she had threatened me. Only reason my boyfriend didn't tell me was because my great-grandmother, who I was close with, had just passed away and he didn't want to add more stress. He had hoped the situation would just go away. I'm a bit annoyed with him for it, but I see where he's coming from. So am I the a-hole for not wanting to be friends with my partner's ex and former best friend? Was there a better way to approach it?
Absolutely.
Part of me wonders if I should have kept trying the nice approach or tried to meet up in person with her. But the other part, with the information I have now, wonders if the invite to me in real life was for her to go after me. Any advice is appreciated, though I honestly hope this is the end. I think it's always good to reflect on your actions, and that is the end. And now I am 100% back on our train of why was she suddenly pushing so hard to meet up?
I agree.
My friends ditched my party over a cat?
Was it a cool cat?
For context, I'm very close friends with these people since freshman year of high school. We met in culinary class and bonded immediately. Over the years, we gained and lost friends, but the four of us remained tight. I called them Bert, 19 male, Martha, 18 female, and Brianna, 18 female. By the way, this comes from Apprehensive Bad 6662, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Riley.
I'm Sophia.
And I'm Keon.
And OP says, Bert was my closest friend. We played video games together every afternoon for years. Sure, we had our little spats, but nothing beyond the normal friction you get when spending tons of time with someone. I know how that's like.
Hey.
Martha and I had traveled to another state for a concert. That was an absolute blast. I even house sat for her family for 3 weeks one summer. Brianna wasn't as close to me since she's Bert's sister, but I never had problems with her until recently.
Uh-oh.
Bert, you're in a love triangle, OP.
Uh-oh.
Honestly, if I hadn't invited her, things probably would have gone differently. Now for what happened. I planned a birthday camping trip for my 18th in May, involving my boyfriend, Carl, 17 male, and my 3 friends. I made these plans early in March. Everyone got off work. We talked about how excited we were. I even made a playlist for the drive because I was so pumped. You know how much dedication you need for that?
Yeah. I've never done that. I have a lot of friends who make playlists. I just have one big old playlist.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's me.
I've got one
No!
big old
Yeah,
playlist,
that's me.
and you can skip through.
It's my
Ew.
likes. It's literally my likes. I'm like, all right, well, just cue it up.
Oh, no, I have
No.
a specific, it's a playlist that I've created over the years.
I have a
What?
couple playlists.
What about okay?
I've got
Playlists
one.
are sort of a journaling of what you were going through in a time. So you put a
Yes.
playlist together for that time, and then you're like, okay, this is how I was feeling during
See,
that time.
That's called my
this
likes, my guy.
playlist, But it's from freshman year of high school to now. And if
That
you go
is
through it in order, you can see
despicable.
how my music taste has
Yeah,
changed.
that's just my likes. Literally my
Despicable.
likes. It's just like, all right, what was I feeling during this time? And you're
But-
like, ah, cool.
Anyways, get me out of this room.
How many playlists do you got?
You want to know?
I do want to know.
You wanna know?
I want to know.
You want to
I
know?
wanna
Okay,
know.
okay. I literally within the last year
You
had
widowy?
10. I'm Batman, Hyperactive, Exploration 25, Date Night, Spring of 25, Undertones, Party Time, Homesick, 90s Jam, Angie Girl, Rex,
Homesick?
Unmatched, Science Isn't Real,
They homesick?
You, Summer 24, Life Moves Pretty Fast, Workout, Late Night, Gym, 23 Summer,
I never
playlist.
asked for
That's
the titles.
too many playlists.
It's all these are
That's
happening
too
over
many.
years. Look, these are all over. These
How
are all
many
That's
playlists.
too
playlists is that?
many.
There should be a specific number
I've
of
got-
playlists.
I have one called I Am Batman whenever I'm feeling like I'm Batman. I have one called Hyperactive whenever I want to freaking get
Checking our
after
playlist
it.
Right now.
This is what-
Exploration 25 is what I'm listening to now.
I've got In Progress. Oh, there's more. I've got Soundtrastic, which is just a bunch of soundtracks because I don't put soundtracks onto my main. That would be crazy.
Okay.
I don't put soundtracks onto my main playlist. Some old music that makes me sound cool, but I don't really put stuff on that one because I use
You're
use
lame.
my main.
You're so lame.
Relaxing, possibly French,
You're so lame.
classical music, and that's it. I also have In Progress jazz version.
Dude, I have one called We're Done. Read the story. Right is always the best part when you get to talk and scream music together. The day before the trip, Martha started pressuring me to let her drive separately with Bert and Brianna, claiming they needed more room. This made no sense. I'd be driving my mom's newer sedan with 6 seats and plenty of space for a weekend trip. Anything that wouldn't fit would go into my dad's truck bed. I explained multiple times that I wanted to drive so we could all be together, listen to my playlists, and nobody would feel left out. There was another reason I didn't want Martha driving. She's honestly a terrifying driver. Every time she drove around me, I have anxiety attacks from her reckless driving. We all know who that
we all
is.
have one of those friends. It's Sam.
Well, he doesn't have to drive anymore.
That's true, yeah. So actually, it's not Sam anymore.
Once she nearly got us T-boned at an intersection because she decided to turn on red when the left turn lane had a green light. If I hadn't have screamed stopped, we would have crashed.
Oh my gosh.
That was the last time I let her drive me, though I never told her why to spare her feelings.
If you guys were real friends, you would have just told her she sucks at driving.
Plus, it was my birthday, and I'm the most experienced driver. It just made more sense for me to drive, right? The day of the trip arrives. Martha was supposed to pick up Bert and Brianna, then come to my house so we could all leave together. About 10 minutes before departure time, Martha texted me she was on her way. Carl and I had loaded my mom's car, leaving room for the 3 others. Half hour passes. No Martha. I texted her and Bert asking what's going on. Martha said Brianna's cat gotten outside and they were trying to get him back in before leaving. I figured this would take maybe 10 minutes max. Their cat is overweight, knows where home is, and is very loved. 15 minutes later, Bert calls me out of breath, talking about chasing this cat around the yard, treats being unsuccessful. This struck me as super weird. Anyone with a cat knows that if you run after them, they'll run away faster. They don't come to you if you chase them at full speed. It scares them. Most cats prefer coming to you on their own terms and will return to where they know there's food. I didn't want it to cause issues, so I just wished them luck and figured I'd wait out a bit longer. An hour passes. No updates. Carl and I didn't know what to do. My mom speculated that either Martha or Brianna let the cat out on purpose because Martha wanted to drive herself. I didn't believe in this theory initially, but everything that happened afterward makes me wonder. 2 hours after our planned departure time, Carl and I decided we had to go. Martha texted saying they'd leave as soon as the cat came back inside and would keep searching even if they had to stay up super late. We drove to the campsite, set up the huge tent my parents bought for everyone to share, and hung out with my family. Still no updates from the trio. Then it got dark. We realized they weren't coming that night, but they promised they'd be there eventually, whenever they got the cat inside, because that cat meant everything to Brianna. Carl and I were understanding about this. As much as it made me sad, we didn't get to drive up together.
Where is this cat?
I look forward for them
the car.
arriving on Saturday. Yeah, dude. My cat peeps. What's going on here?
I'm confused. Did they know, do they know where the cat is? Did they lose the cat?
It just ran outside and they're trying to chase after it.
But I'm like, if you know where the cat is, how is it this hard?
Also, it's like an overweight cat too.
How are you this bad at catching a cat? Like if the cat got out and ran away and you guys were like, I don't know where the cat is, but if you know, like, you can see the cat. Come on.
I agree. As someone, I don't catch cats, but I can catch mice.
Mhm.
I've caught multiple mice. The one that took me the longest was 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyways, Saturday morning, no overnight updates. I texted and bothered them until I finally got a response saying they hadn't gotten the cat inside, but knew he was in the neighbor's yard. They tried coaxing him with treats, but he wouldn't come over. I suggested letting their mom help since she'd offer, but Brianna refused to leave her cat. Bert and Martha also refused to leave Brianna alone because the cat meant so much to her.
What is this? Are you giving her emotional support while she tries and catches her cat? She's not lost. The cat's just outside. Get the cat. You don't need 3 people to try and get this cat.
And there's so many more effective means to this.
So many more. Like, what? This is so stupid. Yeah. Casey Roberts says this is the worst lie I've ever heard. Agreed.
I was about to say. We got through the entire day with barely any updates, and another day passed without them showing up. My family and Carl were pissed, but I tried seeing the best in my friends. They'd been my friends for so long, and I felt hurt. They all ditched me over a cat whose whereabouts they knew. He just wasn't inside. Didn't want to believe they had malicious intent. That's what my entire family thought, though. Sunday arrives, the last day of my birthday trip. With little to no updates and growing anger over how crappy the situation was, Carl decided to be the bad guy and called him out. He sent a long paragraph to our group chat about what they did was extremely crappy and hurtful, that all 3 chose a cat over my 18th birthday. Brianna took great offense and started calling Carl mean names and said he had no empathy because this cat saved her life. They argued back and forth with Martha, occasionally jumping in to back up Brianna. Bert and I mostly stayed on the sidelines reading the messages. Eventually, things got absolutely nasty. Brianna and Martha ganged up on Carl with deep personal attacks after he tried sticking up for me. He returned the energy full force, and it spiraled quickly.
Ay, ay, ay.
So, what I've learned, and I've said this last week, but what I've learned with horror movies is usually if you take out the monster or whatever the bad thing is in the movie, and whatever's left is actually what the movie's about.
Yeah.
I feel like if we take this cat out of the situation,
Yeah.
that's what the whole thing's about.
Yeah. You guys have bad friends.
And it's tough. Like, I have a friend that's struggling to connect with the people he grew up with in high school. I'm like, dude, over time, you just don't mesh together.
Grow apart. Yeah. You
Yeah.
guys are you're all 18. So you're at this kind of big crossroads in life where you're going to be all doing different things. And sometimes, the friends that you had in high school aren't the friends that you're to stay with. And that's okay. You'll find new people who don't spend a day trying to get this cat inside.
Yeah, dude. Come on.
Better cat owners than this person.
For real. Bert swooped in to defend his sister because he didn't like that Carl wasn't going to take it easy on her after the crap she said. The fight went on forever, and by the end of it, I was sobbing. Nothing I tried helped. Neither side would stop saying nasty, degrading crap. I left the group chat out of anger and frustration and talked to my mom. She ended up texting Bert, but that didn't help much. Carl and I tried enjoying the rest of the day, but it was hard when I kept thinking all about the crazy crap Martha and Brianna were saying. Felt so hurt, like I didn't mean anything to them. Like for those 4 years, never mattered. It was devastating and definitely my worst birthday ever.
I forgot it was your birthday. Oh,
Birthday
This
man.
entire
camping
trip,
trip.
this entire trip was for the birthday.
It was the birthday trip. Oh, rough.
That's
Rough.
tough.
That's real tough. OP, I'm sorry.
The 3 of them have slowly started cutting me off despite offering to do something else for my birthday, which they never actually planned. They just said it to look better during the argument. Yeah. These aren't your friends anymore.
No.
Fran,
Not at
the
all.
cat probably never got out.
Was there ever a cat?
They don't have a
There's
cat.
no such- They
Yeah,
don't even
there's
have a
never
cat.
been a cat at
Yeah.
all.
They call and they're like, the cat's out. Woof.
I didn't know you guys had a cat. It's new.
It talks a little different.
Meow.
I genuinely don't believe they needed all 3 of them to get one cat who was just chilling outside in view. Also, are they physically slow to get this cat? Because if it's overweight and they can see it.
Yeah. That's what I'm like, how is it this hard for you to get a cat inside?
Yeah.
It just can't be.
He wasn't inside, so they completely ditched me. My mom was also pissed because she'd spent a lot of money on groceries, a tent, and renting the campsite space. She thinks Martha did this on purpose because she didn't want me driving. And then it spiraled from there. Honestly, don't know what to believe anymore. I just know how hurt I feel and that I've completely cut all 3 of them out of my life. I want some other opinions. Am I the a-hole because I wasn't empathetic enough about her cat being outside?
No.
We have an update.
F her cat, man. I'm sorry. If my dog got out and was outside, I mean, it wouldn't be have a problem because my dog knows how to be recalled. But like, or recalled.
Yep,
But
like a car.
yeah. But what? Sure. Okay. But if my dog is outside and
Yeah.
I can see the dog, it's gonna take me like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes to get that
20
dog
minutes
inside.
tops, 30 minutes tops.
Dude,
Okay,
I could-
yes, a cat is different.
I could get your dog into the house in less than 10 seconds.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just saying if it was a dog that didn't know how to be
Oh.
like recalled, or,
Oh,
you know.
got
But like, so let's say this is a cat. It's a bit harder. We put a can of tuna in. I don't know. It's not like if you can see the cat, it cannot be that hard. It cannot take hours to get this cat inside.
Yeah, aren't cats like little versions of lions?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, let that
They're
cat
both
live.
felines.
Let it-
Good job, Riley.
Update. Thanks for all your comments. They brought to my attention that I wasn't clear enough. Cat is an outside cat when it wants to
What?
be.
Wait, what?
When it wants to be, Sophia, when it feels like going
So
outside.
it wanted to be.
No, it didn't want to be outside.
Yeah,
It wanted to be inside.
outside. Don't catch me.
And so
Stop it.
it,
That's insane. Your cat is an indoor cat.
it goes in and out often, as do other cats. They live on plenty of property where it's not a risk of being
Then
overrun.
What?
They knew where the cat would be, but decided none of them could come. I didn't come help because there were already 4 or more people there. I also realized there's more I didn't include about why I'm cutting them off. It's not just because of this isolated incident.
Even if it was, they're gone. I'm sorry, they couldn't come to your birthday weekend
Wait, can
because 3 of them had to help get an outdoor cat indoors.
can I say one of your friends' names?
Sure.
What if Isabella did this to you?
Bill would never. She has cats actually. She has 2 cats.
What if you
that you had
Okay, there's something special coming up soon.
Yeah.
What if she can't make it because one of her cats are outside? Would you understand? Would you cut her off?
I'd be like, girl, how long is it gonna take you to get this cat?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna cut her off, but I'd be like, why?
Boom, revoked it.
But also, here's
Hypocrite.
No, I'm saying in this scenario. it
Yeah,
makes
this
sense.
scenario is stupid.
there was also them just not even communicating with OP.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, we have a plan. We have this. We're gonna try and
Yeah,
make
we'll
it
be
there.
there.
Yeah.
We'll try and leave in an hour.
Yeah.
Nothing. It was just we can't come at all because the
Wrestling,
cat's outside.
wrestling mama, a fat cat wouldn't come for treats.
None of this makes
There's
sense.
not- yeah.
Catgate.
Oh man, Bert especially, who was my best friend for 4 years, became very rude and backhanded towards me after the incident. He called me stupid and say I was just joking constantly. Martha just distanced herself from me, and Brianna and I were never that close anyways. Eventually, after a big fight with Bert, I decided to unfollow them on everything and cut them off. I had no need for this negativity in my life anymore. Please don't cut us off when you're in need of some positivity in your life. All you gotta do is go to your favorite podcast platform, search up OK Storytime on Apple, iHeartRadio, or Spotify, and listen to the positive well-being of our voices lift
Positive.
you up.
Positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
No,
always
your
so
friends are
positive.
not your friends, and if they're being nasty to you, again, what should have happened? So, what's her face who has the cat? Brianna.
Yeah, sure.
Brianna's like, hey, my cat got out. I know she's an outdoor cat, but we're leaving. We need to get her in. Can't be outside all weekend, blah, blah, blah. So my mom and I are going to try and get the cat. We might be running a little late. I'm going to drive up on my own. I'll meet you guys up there.
Yep.
And then your other 2 friends drive up and you all go up together and everyone's good. And then Brianna drives up later. That's it.
That's totally
That's it. She gets her cat in, I don't know, 10 minutes later.
Yeah. Agreed.
It.
Of freaking greed. Sounds like the cat got out of the bag, though. Soon after, Martha sent me a photo on Snapchat of all three of them together, all flipping me off.
What? So immature. I know you're 18 years old, but I never did this at 18, so you're bad.
They unfriended me
Ugh.
and unfollowed me on everything imaginable, even on my self-care non-sponsored app. That was the ultimate reason I decided to cut them off completely, not just one thing. I have cats of my own, so I understand how important they are. But I also have 2 cats that are constantly outside, and I never ditch a friend from plans we had months, force my cat inside. That's the end of that story. Guys, is this cat gay or are the friends...
This cat's not real.
This cat's
Yeah.
fake. Fake cat.
Fake news, fake cat.
But that's the end of that story, and we're gonna jump into the next one.
My friend blamed me for not forgiving him after what he did.
What'd he do?
During a recent school break, I was sitting at home when I received a snap from a friend I'll call Sam. To be clear, I don't have a crush on Sam. He had a crush on me for a while, but claimed it was just a joke or a dare when I rejected him. I'm not sure if it was actually a joke since he's shown genuine interest for months and only said it was fake after I said no.
Yeah, it's not a joke. Obviously.
Unless if you like want to do it.
People
like-
can't be this oblivious.
By the way, this comes from Far Village 2415. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Riley,
I'm Sophia.
And I'm Keon.
and OP says he sent a pic of himself with a few church friends in Bali. Then said he'd give me their personalities and asked me to rate them because he was trying to figure out my type.
Dude,
It seemed
leave
like
it.
his usual friendly banter. So I agreed. When he sent the photos through, there were no personality descriptions. I asked if he forgot to include them, and he didn't reply. Then I got a snap with the caption, "If you need personality, suck my pee-pee."
I think he got a good rating.
Yeah.
I think he was really excited.
Blocked. Yikes.
Sam must have given his phone to one of his friends because suddenly I was talking to someone else, who I'll call Dan. I explained that I don't judge based on looks alone since the full package matters to me. Dan immediately went off about how girls only date guys for money and fame, claiming I
God.
don't have a personality.
Oh my God.
And that's why I seek guys with a personality. This made me angry because he was essentially saying girls can't be successful without men's help and are incapable of earning money ourselves. When I didn't respond, knowing better than to argue with teenage boys, Dan kept attacking me. He went after my looks. Sam must have shown him my photo, my friends, my gender, my music taste, literally anything you could think of. He started calling me fat repeatedly, body shaming every part of me, trying desperately to get a reaction. This really hurt. I've always been insecure about my weight, though not because I think I'm too big. My doctor says I'm underweight at every checkup since my ADHD medication suppresses my appetite. Still, no teenage girl enjoys being body shamed by strangers.
Okay, so we do know that they're all teenagers.
Well, guess what? You don't have to.
Block them.
I went to bed upset and woke up to 5 missed calls from Sam between midnight and 4 a.m. I told him I needed space. When I finally messaged back, I explained while I made a few joke insults like calling one of them old, which Sam knows is normal for teasing for me. It's never okay to body shame teenage girls and attack them about everything. Sam said it was just a joke.
Ooh. Yeah, and then that's when we block Sam.
Sam said it was a joke, that I was overreacting, and that I started it. I told him it hurt my feelings regardless of his intentions. He kept making the same excuses, so I stopped replying. Then he claimed he didn't contribute to what Dan said, that all his friends were discussing what to say, but he did not participate.
I literally don't give a hoot. They're your friends. And you gave them your phone.
That's so funny.
And let them text your friend and then told her that she's overreacting.
This was supposed to comfort me, but it actually made things worse. It meant they were planning coordinated attacks while he stood there silently. He never apologized, took responsibility, or acknowledged that things went too far. He just blamed others and made excuses. When we returned to school, we were in the same homeroom. I told him not to expect everything to be normal. I needed time and wouldn't pretend everything was fine. He called me overdramatic again. I said unless he apologized properly, I wouldn't talk to him. He kept bombarding me with messages saying I was overreacting and that he was completely innocent. I told him I was done trying to fix things. If he ever wanted to repair our friendship, it was entirely his responsibility now. At school, he kept trying to talk to me in person with the same tried excuses. I started treating him as just a classmate, avoiding conversations when possible, though I still replied to snaps and messages. He was furious that I wouldn't talk to him in person and remained convinced he'd done nothing wrong. My friends all agreed with my position. He was trying to gaslight me into thinking everything was fine and that it was my fault. I was upset about losing Sam as a friend, confused about how someone who used to like me was now gaslighting me, and angry that a good friendship had been ruined over something so unnecessary. I took photos of the entire conversation as proof in case things escalated further. We have comments.
These are teenage boys.
Yep.
And a lot of teenage boys suck. Not all. Not all teenage boys suck. Some are really lovely. A lot of teenage boys are really stupid, especially around their friends.
I do remember being a teenage boy. I
Yes.
did suck sometimes.
Yeah.
I didn't have a phone as a teenage boy, so
And you still suck
Thank
sometimes.
goodness.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
If,
No.
If I didn't pick enough green beans, that'd suck.
Yeah, a lot of teenage boys make really awful comments. I remember being a teenage girl, and some boys are really silly and say silly things.
Anyways, we have an update.
Let's do it.
So OP says, I officially blocked him on everything.
Woo! Good on you, girl.
Should have been the first thing, but it's okay.
She's young.
I told him what had happened hurt, and I tried to fix it, but I wouldn't put 90% of the effort for his lackluster 10%. I said I wouldn't talk to him online or in person unless he came to me with a proper apology, not because I demanded one. He keeps looking at me in class like he wants to talk, but hasn't approached me. When I told him this final decision, he sat there online without typing until I was about to block him. Then he suddenly said, "But I snitched on them. I told them off," and kept spamming, "Did you ever think about their feelings?"
Yikes, he's crashing out.
Like, yes, of course, I thought about the guy who body shamed every inch of me. Of course, I felt terrible for simply calling one of them old, comparing my playground insults to their cruel attacks. I didn't reply. I'm avoiding him and everything about him, possibly forever. My mind might change eventually, but right now, I don't want to talk to him ever again. Update 2. I haven't spoken to him in 4 months.
Woo!
Also, we have an update 4 months later and you're still thinking about him.
Well, of course she is.
Well, because I think,
This is like one of the biggest things that's probably,
Going on.
happened to her.
yeah, again,
this
for like
year.
a teenager, this is like,
Yeah, this is
These are
huge.
huge.
Breaking news for the
Yeah.
rest of the year.
I haven't spoken to him in 4 months. He's blocked on everything. Here's what had happened since. He body shamed me in front of his friends during a
Ugh.
class presentation.
what?
He bullied
Ugh.
me until I cried, only stopping when a teacher intervened.
Oh,
He even spread a fake discriminatory screenshots claiming I sent discriminatory messages. During a presentation about opening a bakery, which I got a 98 on, he raised his hand and asked, "Shouldn't you maybe focus on cutting down on sugar and carbs instead of becoming even fatter and just eating cookies for a living?"
I
I
thought,
hate him so much.
does
Wait a minute,
school
wait a minute, wait a minute.
bullying stop?
His friends joined in with similar comments until my teacher cut them off and told me to take a walk. I was about to break down.
This makes me so sad.
Another morning, after I left to use the bathroom, he followed me down the hall, bullying me about liking Taylor Swift with the usual sexist garbage. A teacher spotted me rushing to the bathroom in tears and stepped in. Worst of all, he doctored a fake message to make it look like I told him to go back to
Oh
where
my
you came
God.
from, ape.
Oh my
gosh.
God.
What?
Sorry, I didn't see. To be absolutely clear, I would never say anything like this. He sent those fabricated screenshots to teachers.
To teachers?
Getting me punted off of school council and pulled into the office
Oh
with multiple
my-
staff members.
Oh my
Only
gosh.
I did break down and tell them everything he's been doing for months. After the meeting with him and both sets of parents, He was expelled.
Yes, as he should be. As he should be. Thank goodness.
Why did it take this long? I'm
The thing
so
is-
confused.
No, that's what happened. I feel like there's so many cases where like P or like young kids don't want to come forward and talk about their bullying because they don't want to seem like a snitch or they're afraid of coming forward.
That's crazy.
There's so many signs, and I feel like sometimes parents just really are not looking out.
He somehow contacted me afterwards, cussing me out because his parents were furious. Now he has to go to church twice a week instead of just on Sundays. So he moved to a different city, and I haven't seen or spoken to him since. Now I'm in therapy for body image and confidence issues, but at least my life isn't in danger anymore. Looking back, I realized this situation taught me important lessons about setting boundaries and recognizing toxic behavior. What started as a seemingly innocent interaction revealed someone's true character when they didn't get their way. Sam's reaction to rejection and my subsequent boundaries showed he was really never a friend at all. The experience was traumatic, but also showed me the importance of standing up for myself and not accepting mistreatment just to maintain relationships. Sometimes the people who claim to care about us are the ones who hurt us the most when we don't give them what they want. Guys, we give you what you want by going to your favorite podcast platform, searching up OK Storytime, and listening to more stories like this. Just search up
Okay, story time.
OK Storytime on Apple, iHeartRadio, or Spotify.
And there
Sorry.
you go. It's okay.
Yeah, but
That's all right.
that's it. She's just kind of talking about, teachers stepped up,
Ears are plugged.
everything else. That's
Yeah.
it.
Tough. That's tough. OP, I wish you the best. Make sure that,
Yeah.
you got trusted adults in your life who got to stand up for you.
And
And
also
you reach
friends.
out and you tell them. Sorry?
Yeah. Also friends.
Also friends. Also,
Yeah.
there's going to be people in your life that are hopefully, your age who care about you and, want to protect you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate
It's
the
tough.
fact that you considered
Being a
him.
teenager is hard.
It is, but I hate the fact that you considered him a friend with
Yeah.
through all of that
It's
bullying.
such a betrayal.
All
It's
of
such
that
a
bullying.
betrayal.
Like friends bully each other, sure, but it's like playful.
My friend had an affair with a married man, and I refused to tolerate it.
Yes, you shouldn't, though.
Oh, yeah. And this comes directly from one of you.
It's one of you.
It's one of you out there. Ooh, it's one of you out there. And they'll be like, that's not what British people sound like.
How is your British?
Yeah, just
I'm,
like
I'm
an
on
old,
Facebook sites for that when you just sounded like an old man.
just an old British witch.
One of you.
It's one of you out there who are.
Anyway.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, it's Labor Day. Give me a break. Myself, 23 female, and my best friend, 23 female, have been friends for 18 years, quick math, since the age of 5. We met in primary school and have been friends ever since. We attended different high schools, but maintained a close relationship despite this. We were at each other's houses every weekend and would text and call all week long. We've been extremely close for our entire lives. By the way, this comes from user Medical Ambition 613 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
And OP says, I've been a support system for her since we were small. She didn't have the best upbringing. Her parents were separated due to infidelity, as did mine, and her mother, who she lived with, had a drinking problem. Normally, when there was an issue at home, she would always come to my house, so I think it's safe to say we had a strong friendship where we could always rely on each other. Jane moved in with me and my partner, 23 male, in October of 23 until February 2025. During this time, she went through a really traumatic breakup. Her partner of 2 years cheated on her whilst on a lads trip abroad, and it absolutely broke her.
Not the lads trip.
Not the lads trip. No.
Yikes.
I wonder if was it a gaycation though?
If it was a gaycation, does that make it like a little bit okay?
If it's a gaycation, well, it depends on if he truly gives himself up entirely to the gaycation,
It's true.
as we all know.
Per rules of gaycation.
And if anyone's confused about that, go find the gaycation
You're
episode.
confused, you're not watching enough OK
Yes.
story time.
If you're confused, get in on the inside jokes. Come on. It took her a long time to be right again, and this period was very worrying for me as I felt helpless to make her feel better. Now, on to what happened. A few months ago, Jane came over to my house, And whilst we were chatting away, she mentioned that someone had added her on Instagram, complimenting her and asking her out for a drink. The issue, he wouldn't reveal his identity, despite her asking many times. Naturally, I said this was unbelievably creepy and she should block him. I don't think I need to explain the dangers of going out for a drink with an anonymous person. But for some reason, she continued to talk to this stranger. And through asking questions about his life, she had figured out who he was. A client at her salon who is married with a child and his wife is pregnant. This is not the rebound we need right now, Jane. Baby, come on. No!
I'm upset. I have no words because I'm upset.
Come on. Once you do the sleuthing and you find this out, you go, oh.
You go,
and then you
oh, you're disgusting.
Yeah.
And I want nothing to do with you, especially because I was just cheated on.
Come on. I told Jane in no uncertain terms that she should cut contact with this man immediately. She had been seeing a few other men at this point, so it wasn't like she was short of options, and a married man is certainly not an option. I then reminded her how my own father's infidelity ruined my life and caused me so many issues growing up, and still now in adulthood. The same could be said for her, so how could she do that to another family? I finished our conversation by saying if she went through with it, I would never speak to her again. After that conversation, I heard nothing from her regarding this, so I assumed she had cut contact. I was sadly very wrong. About a month later, she came over to my house for dinner, and as we were finishing up, she said, I need to tell you something, but I'm scared because you said you would never speak to me again.
Okay.
Clearly,
So-
you weren't scared enough, huh?
Yeah. If you really cared about that consequence, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, maybe you wouldn't have done it. Maybe, just maybe, you would have said, what are my values? Oh, I value my friend more than hooking up with a married man with a child and a wife who's pregnant. Straight away, I knew what she was talking about, and I felt sick to my stomach. She went on to explain how she slept with a married guy, and she feels so guilty, blah, 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 blah. Naturally, I was lost for words. The only question I had for her was, did you tell the wife? Some people may disagree with me on this topic, but I believe someone should know when they are being cheated on, especially when that person is pregnant. I worried about his extramarital relations having health repercussions for the baby and the wife, not to mention morally speaking, she has a right to know. Her response was no, because that would make her look bad, and she continued to list off reasons not to tell her. All of the reasons were completely selfish. It was all about her self-image and the repercussions it would have on her life and work. She didn't mention the wife or family once. I was disgusted and told her that these are all things I warned her about well before she chose to sleep with him, and the repercussions were clear enough to her back then. I told her nothing she can do now will make it right, but the small thing she can do is to tell that poor woman. She left my house shortly after, and when she had gone, I texted her to say I meant what I said. Since then, she has pleaded with me to reconnect, sent a card and flowers, contacted our mutual friends, and asked me out to talk, all of which I have refused or ignored, until last night when I responded to her latest text asking to talk. I told her we had nothing to talk about. She responded with an angry, self-centered tirade about how the ball's in my court, she's done everything she possibly could, and has taken full accountability. Nah, girl!
No. Your friend, or OP, told you the consequences that your actions would have, and now she's following through with them. She's like, I told you I wouldn't be your friend anymore if you did this, and
Yeah.
you did this. The ball is never leaving my court
Right.
again because I'm holding that boundary now.
She took
Bye-bye.
the ball and went home like she said she would.
She's not playing a game anymore. She's gone.
In my opinion, she's done everything she can to avoid doing the right thing. She thinks sending apology messages and some flowers to me will make it better, but I'm not the one she should be apologizing to. She's missing the whole point. She only feels bad because she lost a friend, not because she's done something horrible, and she seems unable to grasp that. The rest of our friendship group is equally as disgusted and don't want to continue having a relationship with her. Others have told me that when she apologized to them, she couldn't understand why we weren't okay with it now that she has apologized. Like it doesn't matter that she's done something terrible because she's sorry now. She went on to say how everyone makes mistakes. Okay, Hannah Montana.
Everybody has those days.
Yeah, everybody makes mistakes. This wasn't a mistake. This was a choice, and she knew the repercussions. I responded to her message calling her out for making it all about herself and once again not mentioning the family she has home-wrecked. I reminded her that apologizing to everyone but that family is not taking accountability. I know that what happened is between her, the married guy, and his family, but she made it my business when she told me, and when I told her in no uncertain terms that this would destroy our friendship. And by the way, you could never destroy the full episodes with stories just like this that you can find on your favorite podcast platform, be it Spotify or iHeart or Apple Podcasts. All you got to do is search OK Storytime and you can listen to the full archive.
Over 70 days.
And you'll never be able to destroy them.
Never.
But we do have a little bit more story here. I will not be friends with someone who can be so thoughtless and devoid of conscience to knowingly destroy a family like this and would disregard our friendship so easily for a one-night stand. I love her, she is family, and I constantly find myself hoping that in the future we might recover from this, but I just don't see how right now, especially when she knows what the right thing to do is and refuses to do it every day. So am I the a-hole for ending our 18-year friendship despite her apologizing? I would appreciate any advice. And there are some comments. Number 1, doesn't sound like you need any advice. Your reasoning is justifiable and you're sticking with your morals, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everything you said lined up. You told her not to, but she did anyway, and it was indeed a choice she made, not necessarily a mistake on a wasted night or something like that. At the end of the day, it is your decision to part ways, just like it was her decision to sleep with him. The only thing I could say as a neutral party is that no one is perfect. And to sort of play devil's advocate a smidge, I just don't know if her telling the wife is the right thing to do, or at least it shouldn't come from her. From my own perspective, I feel like sleeping with someone's spouse and then going out of your way to tell them about it can come off as kind of malicious, because why go as far as sleeping with him and then go out of your way to tell his wife you slept with him? Might as well hadn't have done it in the first place. If there's anyone who should tell, it's the husband, or if you feel so strongly about it, you reach out and tell. Comment 2, unpopular opinion, but you're the a-hole. At least you know it's unpopular, my guy. Let's see what kind of reasoning this could possibly be. You don't have to agree with her choices, and I think you were right in telling her that her behavior was unacceptable. At the end of the post, you say you love her, but you seemed to discard her pretty easily. Life is messy, and people F up. You'll F up someday, and you'd hope that your friends wouldn't all abandon you either.
Yeah, but it's almost like she told you in advance the consequences of that F up and then still did it, and then you just held your own morals.
Literally explained, hey, we now know that this guy's married with a wife and a kid on the way. If you do pursue this man and sleep with him, given our shared traumatic backgrounds with infidelity and affairs in our family, I won't be associating with you anymore.
Right. She knows what happened to your family, and she's okay with this.
This is the friend.
Yeah, 100%.
This commenter is now the friend. It seems like she's really trying to repair things with you. Maybe you can give her a bit of grace instead of judging her and punishing her forever. But if her friendship isn't actually important to you, keep doing what you're doing. Bro, shut up. Because she even says it. She's like, I hope one day we can maybe fix this, but it's definitely not happening right now.
Right.
Anyway, there's a reply to that comment. People mess up, but OP not only warned her that she was doing something wrong, OP also warned her about the consequences of her actions. For OP, this is extremely personal. Her own dad cheated on her mom, so her friend participating in cheating on another mother is extremely personal. Not to mention her friend took 2 years to recover from a cheating boyfriend. How could she participate with a husband cheating on their pregnant wife? All of their friends are abandoning her because no one wants to associate with a cheater, and any of them who have partners would not trust her around them because she has proven that she doesn't respect relationship status. So yes, the friendship was important to OP, but her friend made character choices that make them incompatible now. This wasn't a mistake, it was an intentional choice which revealed what kind of person she is. OP can still care about her but not want to associate with someone with a different moral standard. And that is the end of that story.
Boom.
Yeah, dude.
That one commenter was just insane. So I'm glad that reply said exactly what we were saying to them so that they hear it too.
True. Yeah, you gotta have, but sometimes you gotta have the comment that makes everyone go, nuh-uh.
Nuh-uh.
No, you're wrong. And it's like, yeah, whatever.
So I have final thoughts about the comment that was like, the wife or OP's friend shouldn't be the one to tell the wife because she would be flat out being like, I intentionally hurt you like this. And I, having gotten a couple hey girly DMs before on Instagram in the past. Do you know what a hey girly DM is?
Yeah, like a hey girly, just want to let you know, banged your boyfriend.
Yeah, pretty much. Have specifically gotten a couple, this is not with Keon, guys, have specifically gotten a couple that it's been like, and after I knew he had a girlfriend, I specifically kept going to try to get more evidence for you. And like, you kind of feel like, why would you keep doing that? You know, it's just gonna hurt me more to see more of this when you already had enough that I would have believed you.
Yeah, just tell me, dog. You don't have
Right.
to give me the exhibit A, B, and C.
Right. And then also getting like D, E, and F. And then being like, I can get more if you need more. It's like, no, we were good at like A, B. But then again, in the long run, like the more of it probably gave me a harsher wake up call and I probably got out quicker because of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's very 50-50 on how I feel about that. I think as long as she knows, it's fine.
I just think it comes around to intent. If your intent is to be malicious, that's one thing. Because
Right.
imagine being like, I'm just imagining like what, just based off of what you said, I'm imagining someone who goes out there and they're like, yeah, my mission is to sleep with as many people who have partners as possible so that I can weed out the people who are gonna be a fairy or like have infidelity problems so I can tell their partners. I'm doing God's work.
Right.
I'm doing a public service.
And right now, I don't think OP's friends has the ability to have the correct intentions to be the one to tell her. But if she comes around and has this like, oh my God, I was so wrong moment, then yeah, it should come from her.
Yeah. I think it should just, me personally, I think it should come from her just because that's your penance, dude.
For sure.
You should have to sit in the discomfort of telling that person that. And yeah. You know? That's just how it goes.
But that's the end of that one.
And that's how that goes.
My boyfriend's family said I caused his struggles because I'm ill.
Maybe they caused his struggles.
And trigger warning, there's verbal abuse in this story. So I, 33 female, and my boyfriend, 34 male, have been together for 5 years and met during the pandemic in between lockdowns. I had life-saving surgery when I was 19, and I've lived with chronic illness for over half of my lifetime. I met my in-laws after the pandemic, and all seemed well at first. The city my partner and I live in was stuck in a local lockdown for 9 months, whereas our families were not affected by this. As a result, my partner fell into a deep depression and wouldn't seek help. I'm Angie.
I'm Sophia.
2 years into our relationship, things felt uncomfortable around his family, but we had only met in person a handful of times, so I put it down to us not being around one another that often, and it just being awkward. A few months later, my partner told me that he'd called his sister that evening when she said her husband, and their mom were blaming me for his depression, and that going out and living with someone who's chronically ill was the cause of his mental health struggles. For context, he knew about everything before we even had our first date, and I have been upfront from day one. Around the same time, we went to visit as his dad was having a big birthday party at a venue. I have a medication that I need to take at night, and I start to withdraw past a point. My partner asked his sister ahead of time what time they wanted to stay till and who was driving. This was so that we could make sure we were prepared. She told him that they would be driving back mid to late evening, and that meant that I wouldn't have to carry my medication on my person and could leave it back at the house. But she lied. Classic.
Always classic liar.
Classic. Long story short, I went into withdrawal and felt horrendous for the next few days. Everyone had been very cold towards me when we left. After a few months later, she messaged and I politely asked what I was doing to make people think that I was making their son/brother depressed. She then blew up in my face. She said that I'm selfish and use her brother after he'd bought me up a drink in her house because I was lying down trying to calm down my tremors. She then said, if your medication is that important, then why didn't you bring it? And back then, I'd made the mistake of over-explaining myself. A lot more was said, but essentially, it was implied that I bring nothing to the relationship and treat him like a doormat. A month went by, and I said, let's just move forward. and didn't ask for an apology.
It's really none of her business what the relationship. I mean, like, as long,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they're just making problems up.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that she just in general doesn't have any sympathy for like
Yeah.
the medication, it's like, oh, why didn't you be prepared? Why did you have to ruin it with your chronic illness?
I'm
like,
so sorry.
like, what? It's like, calm down and maybe
Yeah.
care for her.
Agreed.
For real. My father-in-law and mother-in-law had also gotten involved, and the mother-in-law saying the cruelest things out of the four of them. The following month, they were coming to the city we live in to do Christmas shopping, and then, as an afterthought, asked my partner if we'd like to meet them for dinner. Now, for context, I'm missing a huge section of my digestive system, which means my diet is restrictive. She kept suggesting places to eat to my partner that she knew I couldn't eat at, and in the end, I suggested somewhere that I knew would be liked by everyone attending. By this point, I didn't have anyone on social media. I've had all manner of things said to me about my health, but I do my best, and just because it may look easy, it doesn't mean that it is. A few months later, my back buckled, and I was laid up in bed in agony. TikTok had popped up a "Do you know this person?" and it was my sister-in-law. I was trying to create awareness about neurodivergence and living with a stoma, and after everything, I didn't want her to see the videos and judge me further, so I blocked the account. A week later, she texted my partner saying that she'd gone to view it. We didn't know that she was actively searching it, and couldn't view it. Asked her husband to look for it, and it popped up for him. So she refused to speak to me directly, even when I tried to call. I told my partner to tell her the truth. I didn't want close family or in-laws, etc., looking at it, and she blew off, claiming that I was lying and posting it for the whole world to see.
I don't have a TikTok, but I wouldn't want my parents or family to watch it unless,
Yeah.
I mean, unless it was like a lot of people post kind of personal, unless you're a big content creator.
Right.
A lot of it is more personal, so it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, I mean, some things it's like, all depends on how you're going about your social media. But
Well, yeah, it just depends on what you're posting.
Exactly,
But if you
but-
were like posting something kind of personal.
Yeah, and especially if these people are already so judgmental
Yeah.
and mean to her, it's like, that's what
Literally.
you need to explain. It's like,
It's
yeah, no.
You've already been pretty rude to me about
Right. Yeah. About the things that I'm
Yes,
going to be
my
talking
medical
about.
history.
So I knew you didn't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
So
So I took it.
I didn't
took
want you to hear about
that
it.
decision away from you.
Exactly. This was my breaking point. I lowered myself and left a video there to hurt her, because if she continued to snoop when she was asked not to, she would make it known. The video had no one tagged, no names mentioned, just an empty caption. The video stated that my content wasn't for her, that it was for creating awareness and building a community, but she didn't get her own way and had hurt my partner and me in the process. To which I ended it with, so if you still haven't learned your lesson and you're watching this right now, go F yourself. So as predicted, she did. Later that morning, we found out that she'd saved the video and sent it around to everyone,
Yeah,
making me out to be a monster.
Well, like, unfortunately, not that you are at all. Like, she's definitely the a-hole here.
Right.
But it doesn't make you look good.
Yeah.
That's why, just like
Exactly.
avoiding anything that makes you look bad on social media.
Yeah.
'Cause people can twist it, even if it literally had nothing to do with her. She could
Yeah.
probably have twisted it. It does have something to do with her, so now
Yeah.
you shouldn't even have to twist it.
Right. The only one who didn't fall for it was the younger brother, who said, well, you must have done something for her to have done that. Anyway, 3 years have passed. Oh, wow.
Wow.
And they had a baby in March. I helped my partner choose some baby gifts and wrapped them. They passed on their thanks via my partner. A few weeks ago, my partner traveled up to see them, and out of the blue, her and husband both said, we'd like to apologize to her. My partner and I are completely flabbergasted by this. However, I'm very wary of the intent behind it. I also had moved on and had come to terms with the fact that my in-laws do not like me, and quite frankly, the only person who matters is my partner. He's my priority and the man I chose to spend my life with. We're a great team and work hard in our relationship. His family relationship is fractured after they tried to break us up and make no attempt to repair things. Not even with him. Every close friend I've spoken to has told me to stay well away, but would any of you feel inclined to forgive them? I feel that I don't need to forgive her to be at peace with my life. I also don't hold out any hope that she's suddenly learned how to hold herself accountable for her behavior. We do have an update, but what do you think?
I don't think you necessarily have to forgive them.
Yeah.
Seems like they're not necessarily no contact with his family, right?
Yeah, maybe low. I mean, it just says that the relationship is fractured.
Yeah.
So, if they're sending baby gifts, maybe they just kind of keep their distance a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like you can keep your distance, but like be polite when you see them. Like
Yeah.
accept the apology and be like, we're gonna be polite, but I don't want to see them all the time. You don't have to be
Exactly.
friends, but you can be like polite to each other.
Exactly. But we do have an update. So I asked my partner to message his sister and asked what she was apologizing for and what she wanted out of this. After a couple of days, she responded. Here is what she had to say. I don't think that actually comes across that direct. Happy to discuss over a call or FaceTime if you want, but I think I've wanted to speak with OP since pretty early on because I know I just reacted in the heat of the moment instead of just thinking before I responded on more than one occasion, especially with my daughter here now. I feel it's even more important to make amends because I want you both to be in her life and life is too short. Like we said the other week, we want OP to feel comfortable and happy meeting us or coming to family functions. I know she's important to you, and that means she's important to us. I made mistakes and need to own that and apologize. Well, that sounds nice.
We're getting somewhere.
Yeah, because it's definitely possible, like, even if, the relationship was fractured, it's not too late to build that up again.
I don't think anything happened that was like, relationship destroying forever.
Right. Myself and several of you called it with the daughter. I'm surprised that she's confessed that she made mistakes and needs to own up to it, as historically, her and the rest of the family are used to getting away with their crappy behavior. I still don't know where I sit with all of it, mainly because so many people say things but never put the physical work into it. I'm not meeting them in person. It would be at least a 2 hours drive there and back to meet halfway, and I'm stuck in a cycle of pain flares. They're not worth spending the spoons on. However, I've told my partner I'll agree to a video call on our own terms. So what are your thoughts on this message? Although I'm pleasantly surprised by the response, I wouldn't trust her as far as I could throw her. And we do have some comments. So, comment number 1 says, first of all, you're not overreacting. They sound like they're quite toxic. Your partner needs to seek professional help for his depression if it's still really bad. Ignoring it won't make it go away. Other than that, if you don't feel the need to forgive her, then don't forgive her. She has to earn your forgiveness. And that doesn't happen with just an apology. They've been horribly disrespectful to you. You owe them nothing. They owe you more than a simple apology. It's up to you and your partner, but you're not wrong if you choose not to forgive her. Go no contact with the entire family. In the long run, it would be better for you both in terms of physical and mental health anyway. OP responds, my partner got his crap together in the end, thankfully, and has defended me to his family since the last incident. I had surgery planned for last December, and due to having a dodgy immune system, we chose to semi-isolate in the run-up to my op, so I didn't catch the vid. His grandma passed away, and the funeral was a month before, so he chose to attend virtually. His parents lashed out, and he said, I loved my grandma dearly, but my partner is my priority, and I'm standing by my decision. That was the first time that he ever stood up to them, and it was a huge breakthrough. Sometimes I do wish that he was more confident, but his family made him feel so small growing up. And that's the end of that story. Okay, so I mean, that makes sense that it was like, it's more than just this situation. It's kind of a thing, a way that he's been treated by them his whole life.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes sense that it,
Seems like they're kind of coddling him a little bit.
Yeah. My friend made me plan her bachelorette party without the maid of honor knowing.
More bridal trauma.
I, 27 female, officially hate weddings. So I'm in my friend's 28 female wedding party. This friend and I used to be close, but our friendship recently isn't as close as it used to be due to my friend being a crazy, dramatic, selfish, borderline, histrionic woman. We took a long break from our friendship, but it seems like her crazy had evened out once she got engaged. She asked me to be in her wedding party and asked her oldest friend to be her maid of honor, though she repeatedly told me that she wanted me to plan her bachelorette party. By the way, this comes from Wedding Drama Llama, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So now I accepted because her crazy has mostly gone down, but we don't see each other as often as we used to. I didn't mind planning her bachelorette party because I like planning parties, and I assumed the maid of honor was on board with me planning everything. I talked to the bride, and she tells me all the details of what she'd like at the party. We plan the menu, the costs, and she provides me with a list of things that she'd like, as well as the email addresses of the bridesmaids that'll be assisting us with the party. A couple days ago at work, she sends me a link message telling me that I think it's time for us to email the other girls about the party. I'm too busy at the time, so today I linked her back and we chat about the party. And I tell her that I'll send the email with details about the party to the other girls so we can start divvying up the costs and plan who brings what. The bride immediately tells me to hold off because she needs to tell the maid of honor, who we'll call her Ellen, that she gave her number or email to me, or she'll pop off at being randomly hit with these plans. That's suspicious. Why is that? I mean, we know why we saw the title, but so what the F? I asked the bride if Ellen knew that the bride, we'll call her Carrie, asked me to plan the party. Carrie immediately jumps in with, I never asked you, you volunteered. False. I have texts that say otherwise. She's got receipts, dude. You can't deny it. I tell Carrie that she knew that's not true and that I wasn't doing a thing until she talked to Ellen. If I were Ellen, I'd definitely take that the wrong way and think I was wandering into her territory, so to speak. Carrie immediately got defensive and complained that Ellen wouldn't pay for anything. She was so stressed out with planning everything that she couldn't deal with this. And Ellen would throw a solid party, etc. When I questioned Carrie on whether or not she had talked to Ellen about the party, she refused to answer me directly. Until she finally admitted that Ellen had sounded really excited about planning the party and even had a few ideas of her own. This poor girl, Ellen. Why are they doing this to you? No, which I told her in no uncertain terms that she was to work this out with Ellen and that it's the maid of honor's job to plan the bachelorette party. To take that away from Ellen when she was already planning it would be BS unless Carrie talked to her first. Well, Carrie talked to Ellen all right. I just got a nasty email from Ellen addressed to myself and the rest of the bridal party, including the bride, complaining about being rushed about the bachelorette party, how someone had volunteered to plan it behind her back, and how she is thinking about pulling out of the wedding entirely because of this. Oh my gosh.
Aren't weddings supposed to be happy?
Not according to Carrie in this story. My goodness. So, OP, you gotta hit her with the receipts and be like, hey, I did not plan for it. I thought it was weird that Carrie told me that I needed to do this. Okay. Sorry that you feel rushed. I would love to make changes. I'd love to give you the ideas of what I planned out and you can handle it from there. That's what I think she should do.
There's no consistent communication whatsoever, especially with this many people.
Yeah.
Things are getting lost in the convo. Someone's getting confused. Someone's getting messed up. I don't think it's malicious or willful.
Yeah.
But it's causing trouble.
Yeah, to say the least, for sure. She's mad at Carrie for not having her back, but utterly pissed at me because she thinks I plotted to steal the party from under her, take credit, and replace her as maid of honor. Carrie, in the meantime, is begging me not to say anything and telling me that Ellen's wrath will blow over and that I should just go with it. I don't even want to be in this effing wedding anymore.
Wait, what did you mean, don't say anything? So is Carrie acknowledging that she did ask her?
Well, Carrie knows the truth.
Yeah.
She's trying to deny it, but she's trying to tell OP to hey, keep our secret and just let Ellen be mean to you. It's gonna blow over eventually. It's girl.
But you gotta be at the same wedding.
Yeah.
You're gonna face this person.
Exactly.
There's gonna be a clash one way or the other.
Exactly.
If you keep it going, it's gonna build up.
Right. Or too, from OP's perspective, she's gonna get some sort of wrath from either Ellen or Carrie. So either way, I mean, just get out of the wedding.
Yeah.
So should I roast Carrie with the truth and contact Ellen directly to tell her the truth? Or in the interest of having already bought the dress, go with the flow? I'm so pissed right now. I don't think I can even really see straight. And there are some comments. Comment number 1 says, throw the bride under the bus.
Hell
She would do the same for you. Yeah,
she has
did.
been. She's been doing, that is actively what she's been doing.
Right, she did throw her under the bus.
No, cement roller. Flat.
Literally.
There's been no support there.
A cartoon on the ground right now. Commenter number 2 says, I would reply all to the email with attached screenshots of the texts where she asked you to plan it and say something like, look everyone, Carrie asked me to plan a party, so I planned a party. Here are the texts to prove it. I was not trying to move in on anyone's turf, stir up drama, etc. I simply did a favor because I was asked. But don't worry, I'm canceling all the arrangements I've made and you guys can plan your own. And please, no one feel the need to invite me to either the party or the wedding because I am definitely not going to show. Peace.
Receipts.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Beautiful way
That's
to
a
put
mic
it.
drop ending.
That really is. Comment number 3 says, first, you can sell the dress. I did when I had drama as a bridesmaid in a wedding that ended up being canceled due to said drama. So don't let this be the reason you go with the flow. As someone who just ended a close friendship over words being twisted and tried to explain my position, I've found reasoning doesn't work quite well. So go on and roast away. You've already tried the calm approach and tried reasoning with her. I like the idea of giving Ellen a separate email because really both of you are the victim of this bride and her dramatics. Good luck. Comment number 4 says, this almost reads like Carrie did all of this on purpose just to cause drama centered on, but not directly involving herself. OP says she did it because she's selfish. She didn't trust Ellen to throw the bachelorette party she deserves, so she tried to get me to do it and look like the bad guy by stealing Ellen's project instead of having a grown-up conversation with Ellen about having me do the planning. She looks like a saint. I look like an a-hole. This is manipulative, and
So
there
it
is an
was
update.
It was a two-party thing.
Yeah, for sure. Can you imagine, like, if that one commenter is what Ellen or what OP actually does and is like reply to all, see all the text messages and stuff.
Mhm.
I imagine being those other bridesmaids that are involved and just being like, oh my God, crazy stuff is going down right now.
How do you go to the wedding knowing that and keep a straight face?
No, honestly, because then I'm thinking like maybe just to avoid more drama, like you should just tell Ellen separately, but they're going to find out either way.
Oh, absolutely.
So
People talk.
Might as well.
There's some side chats going on.
For sure. But we do have an update. So, first of all, thank you everyone for your advice and wedding horror stories. They were all greatly appreciated, and it's refreshing to hear, even though we know it happens. Wedding horror stories to know that I'm not the only one to deal with this ratchet. Anyway, as I stewed, my boyfriend convinced me against letting the drama bomb explode and roasting anyone, aka be the one that acts like an adult and is the bigger person. So after strong advice from him and my mom, I proceeded to email Ellen privately and explain that I think a huge miscommunication occurred and that I'm sorry if I stepped on her toes, but I'll be very happy to help her with anything she needs to make the event a success. Ellen emails me back to apologize for getting so upset, but says that she had really been looking forward to planning the bachelorette party. She wasn't able to plan the wedding shower because Carrie's mom insisted on taking over, so she felt that this could be the thing she does for her oldest friend. I assure Ellen that everything that's planned can be changed and no deposits have been made as of yet, so we can go forward on her agenda. Think that was smoothed over? Wrong! No! I thought
We were
that was
so
great.
close to another happy ending.
That looked great. It looked like they were figuring things out as adults and apologizing and getting to the bottom of this.
This is Reddit, Angie. Wake up.
Two mature adults. Two mature adults.
It can't exist. Oh
It's
my
like two pretty best friends, but two mature adults on
Yeah,
Reddit.
literally. So, Ellen contacted Carrie to tell her that she spoke to me and that everything is smoothed over and that she'll be taking the reins on the party. And that's when I got a nasty link message from Carrie at work. Carrie calls me an effing witch for contacting Ellen without her knowing. I don't effing need permission from you, ho. And now because of that, Carrie won't get the bachelorette party she wants. And now I know Ellen is going to throw her a cheap, horrible bachelorette party. Or at least that's what Carrie is accusing her of. Carrie further tells me that I should have just gone along with the plan and that Ellen would have moved over and let me throw the party Carrie wanted after a minute. Oh my gosh, Ellen is such a, good friend wanting to do this for her oldest friend, and Carrie is just screwing her over.
Carrie's like a puppet master that doesn't know how to use a puppet.
Yeah, she is just so awful to her so-called oldest friend. That Carrie, oh my gosh. I told Carrie if an effing party was more important than her best friend's feelings, she needed to get her priorities straight. I told her that she's done nothing but treated us like her servants, not just for her wedding, but for the duration of our friendships. Until she learns how to treat people better, I'm refusing to be in her wedding. Her response is to say, "Who do you think you are with this crap?" And followed by, "You're easily replaced." My gosh, man. I think I'm someone that's not going to your wedding.
No.
That's who I think I am.
After that, no. The friendship's done.
Oh, yeah.
Was that even really a friendship, or was Carrie just using people that she thought she could get stuff out of?
Yeah, I really doubt that it was a real friendship. So that was at 11 a.m. It is now 5:47 p.m. and she's already texting me begging for forgiveness and saying that we can work things out and that she never wants to not be friends. Yeah, okay.
No.
My goodness, what a day, dude.
No, just no. No. Do you even respond or just let that sit at that point? I think.
Dude, yeah, I think you just have to let it go. Just I'm not gonna be friends with you anyway. I'm not gonna keep trying to argue with you because it's never going to end.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some comments. Comment number 1 says, "And I'd let Ellen know about Carrie's craziness and misgivings about her maid of honor, Ellen, and the party. Not for revenge, but so Ellen knows what she's dealing with and what is expected for the party. Perhaps it may help to either improve the party, or Ellen may realize that she's also better off not hanging around either. Then I'd stay away from Carrie and the wedding and watch the fireworks from afar. OP responds, I'm with you on it being too late. It definitely is for me. As for Ellen, she's been friends with Carrie much longer than I have. I can only assume she knows Carrie is crazy already. But I won't rule it out should Ellen contact me to ask why I'm no longer in the wedding party. Commenter number 2 says, I'm thinking the tube of toothpaste isn't empty yet and will be making a huge mess by the day of the wedding. If you decide to nope on out of this wedding, of this circus, and you're friends with the other bridesmaids, you can invite them for an after-wedding cocktails a week or so after so you can all decompress. Opie says, I have a feeling you're right. I woke up this morning with 15 unread texts from her. The Lord better give me strength. That is the end of that story. Good luck,
Wait,
OP.
what did the 15 texts say?
I don't
Now
know.
I'm curious.
I want to know, OP. Oh my gosh. Good grief, dude. That is just so exhausting.
Uh-huh.
They're old enough to get married, yet they're dealing with high school crap, man. High school crap.
Yeah.
My friend accused me of stealing her ex-boyfriend after she gave me the go signal.
Yeah, not how that works.
A year ago, my 20 female best friend, 19 female Susan, and her boyfriend, 19 male Billy, broke up, and it was super messy. I was on my best friend's side for a while. She asked me if I ever heard anything about him that I should tell her. By the way, this comes from Platypus Signal 9032 on the r/comfort level pod subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. About 4 months later, Billy downloaded Snapchat and added me. I immediately texted Susan and asked her what to do. We don't ever really see each other because we both go to different colleges. So that's why most of this is over text. She said, you can add him back. You are so sweet. He's your friend too. I'm not going to take that away from you. So clearly I thought it was okay.
Okay, now you're so wrong.
That's an okay. You can add him as a friend.
That's crazy that you were like, and I thought that I was okay to hook up with him and date him now.
Me and Billy have been friends since the 5th grade, and me and Susan have been friends since the 8th grade. Since I was on Susan's side of the breakup, I tried to have little to no conversation with him out of respect for her. 5 months later, I got a super long message from Susan saying how she doesn't like how I am pursuing her ex-boyfriend and how it's been on her mind for months now. Reminder, I was trying to keep conversation to a minimum. I never reached out and only ever replied. When I replied, I was super short in my responses. So I told her that that wasn't true and I don't know where she's getting this from. She also said she didn't like that we hung out and I hadn't seen this man since they broke up. So I have no idea where all of this is coming from. So clearly I was confused. I sent the screenshot of her saying it was okay for me to add him back, and I said, you said you didn't care and that I can be friends with whoever I want. And she said that that still stands. So I was confused because she's contradicting herself. We cleared things up and I ended up cutting all contact with him out of respect for her. Side note, in high school, me, Susan, Billy, and Billy's best friend John hung out every single day. We were inseparable. So all 3 of them became my closest friends. Anyway, once I cut off Billy, he got worried and called me once a month for 2 months to check on me because I just disappeared off the face of the earth to him. I never answered until the 3rd month call. I answered it because me and Susan haven't talked since we decided I should cut Billy off, which is strange because I just cut off one of my closest friends for her, and then she stops talking to me. On the phone call, he checks up on me since I disappeared, and he suggested that the next time we are all in our hometown from college, that me, him, and John should catch up. I was kind of hesitant because I wanted to be loyal to Susan, but Susan hasn't reached out in 4 months. I eventually decided to meet up with them. We got to talking, and after hearing his side of the breakup, which made a lot more sense than her side, I was now on his side. All the things she told me made him out to be the villain, and after hearing his side, she's actually the said villain. See, that is always going to be how that's going to happen, though.
Yeah.
Whoever you talk to, the other person's going to be the one that...
I mean, I don't know. Not every time, but like.
But in things where it's
definitely-
like no one did anything like outwardly outrageous, like you're always going to hear a little bit more from the one person than the other.
You're certainly getting one side of the
Right.
story.
Right.
Like,
He was in shock when I told him what I knew. Yes, both could have handled it way better, and no one is perfect, but he was the victim. After comparing both sides, we came to the conclusion that she 99% cheated on him. They broke up on a Tuesday, and she went to a concert with a new guy on Saturday. It was her coworker, Steve. Earlier that year, she would tell me that her manager and other coworkers thought that her and Steve were dating. In my opinion, if someone thinks someone is dating someone, they obviously are being a little more than friendly. She works until 11 p.m., and Billy would wait for her every night to hang out with her once she got off. Most of the time, she wouldn't get off until 1 a.m. When Billy told me this, I was super confused because a few times I was at her work and waited for her to close, and it only took 20 minutes. Yeah, we can bump that to 100 for sure.
110 at this point. Why not?
So things weren't really adding up. But anyway, 1 month after the concert, they were official. Now I've been hanging out with Billy and John and having a great summer. Today was me and Susan's mutual friend's wedding. I texted her and told her I hoped to see her there and wanted to catch up. She was very short with me. I saw her at the wedding. I tried to make small talk and she just ignored me and walked off. I feel like I am not in the wrong here. I texted her tonight to ask her why she was ignoring me and asked if it was because me, Billy, and John are hanging out. I will update when she responds. And we have the update. I am so sorry for not separating this into paragraphs. My bad. I am sure that was super hard to read. I sent a message to Susan saying how she seemed short over text and was very distant at the wedding. I knew it was me hanging out with Billy and John, but I wanted to still ask her about it. She said that she's a really guarded person and wants nothing to do with Billy. She understands that I can't just drop them as friends, so that's why she has been distancing herself. She doesn't want me to pick between them and doesn't want to get into the middle of it. She also said she is trying to protect her peace. I replied and said, "You are making me choose, and I don't want to. I've been lonely, and Billy and John have been there for me. I understand you want to protect your peace, but I still don't see how we can't be friends." Susan says, "I know it sucks, and that's why I'm choosing for you. So you don't have to. I know they're good friends, and I want you to keep that. I just can't really ignore the fact that you hang out with him, and I can't be able to put on a fake face when I'm with you. I just can't. But that's okay. I know they're good friends, and things are just different now. It's a me problem. I just really don't need to worry about the fact that my friend is still hanging out with my ex, so that's why I've been protecting myself from it and just letting it happen because I seriously don't want to get in the middle of anything." Me? Okay, sounds like your decision is already made. I wish you had just talked to me about it before cutting me off and being distant. That's not how friends handle things, but I accept your decision. But make no mistake, this was your decision, not mine. I'm just giving you what you asked for after I had to beg to find out what was wrong. That's exhausting. But I was willing to do it for who I thought was my BFF, who had just become too busy for me. TBH, this hurts. When you're ready to work it out, let me know. She replied saying how she doesn't want to do this, and it's not that I don't want to be friends with you. I just don't want to be associated with the people you're associated with. So since you are associated with all of that, unfortunately, it makes it hard for me to still be friends with you. It's nothing against you. Some of my best memories are with you, but it's just hard to continue because of what you're associated with. By the way, you can always associate with us with full stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. Got a little bit more, but I don't know. I feel like the second that she said like, hey, this isn't like I'm making this decision for you because I know that he was your friend first and like they're there for you and everything, I feel like that should have been like, I will mutually respect that. Like, we're done then. Not like, come back to me and talk when you're ready to work this out. Like, no, just let the friend go. She doesn't want to be friends with you. You are clearly enjoying your time with your other friends. Let them be. You guys haven't talked in months.
Right. It's been like 4 months of like
Right.
no communication whatsoever.
We don't need to be
But
fighting.
and that
for
goes like both ways.
Right. She's in the wrong for not
So-
telling you this straight up and making you ask for it over and over again. But now that she's told you this verbatim, don't be like, and come back to me when you've like changed your mind and we're like, I get that you're hurt, but like, we don't need to keep this going. If she truly wanted to be my friend, she would have tried to talk to me sooner and we could have tried to work things out. I just don't understand why I can't hang out with her and not talk about Billy. Yeah, you could, like, you don't need to be hanging out with her and actively being like, and when I hang out with Billy, like, I can understand that line.
Yeah.
Of don't
I mean,
cross it. But she
you can
says
just
why I
have-
can't hang out with her and not talk about Billy. You don't need to be talking about Billy with her.
Talk about anything else in the whole world.
Anything else. I have a few friends that are friends with people I don't like, and I have a great relationship with them. I understand, though, that it is her ex, but me and him have been buddies way longer than me and her were friends. When me and Billy and John reconnected, I apologized immediately for ghosting him. He understood, and now we joke about it all the time. Susan has chosen to not be my friend anymore, and I have accepted that. I was willing to work things out and she didn't want to. I'm going to give her space and will try to be open to talking to her if someday we ever reconnect. Then they ask, am I the a-hole? I mean, you went to the friend that I don't know. Like, this is such a weird thing of, like, it's not your fault that friend isn't able to continue a relationship because, like, that was your friend's choice. She was like, I don't want to do that. But if you were out here, like, actively being like, so when me and Billy hang out, and she's like, can we maybe not talk about Billy? And you're like, but Billy and I, then, like, you might be riding a line of it. That sentence was confusing me a bit. My girlfriend started acting cold after she went on a girls' trip.
Well, warm her up.
So I, 25 male, have been with my girlfriend, 22 female, for about 2 years. We've been living together for a few months, and things have mostly been really good. Yeah, little arguments here and there, but nothing major. By the way, this comes from Northwinter Fox, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. Woo! So, last weekend, she went on a trip with her college friends to this lake house one of their families owns. It was just the girls, kind of a last summer thing before a couple of them move out of state. I was totally fine with it. Told her to go have fun, no issues there. But when she got back, something felt off immediately. She walked in, barely looked at me, gave me a quick hug, and then went straight to the bedroom to unpack. She didn't even say she missed me or anything. We usually text a bunch when we're apart, but she was distant the whole trip too. Shorter responses, slower replies. Since she's been back, she's been weirdly quiet. Not mad, just distant. She's been zoning out, not really laughing at stuff like she usually does, and just kind of flat when we talk. I asked her how the trip was, and she literally said it was all right, and changed the topic. No stories, no funny moments, no pics, nothing, which is super unlike her. She normally comes back from any outing with like 10 stories and a ton of photos. The other thing is she's been journaling a lot since she came back. Not bad, just new. She's always been into mindfulness and stuff, but this felt different. I asked if everything was okay, and she just said she's tired and processing a lot. I tried pressing gently, and she told me I was being overly clingy and that she needs space. I've never been called clingy before, so that stung. I tried asking her friends if something happened, but they brushed it off and told me not to worry.
No, I don't like that. I would be like, no, I am worried.
I'm very
So
worried.
please tell me if anything happened.
So now I'm sitting here wondering what happened on that trip that made her come back a totally different person. She's not mad at me, but it feels like she left as one version of herself and came back as another. And she won't let me in at all. Am I overreacting? And we have an update. Should we?
I don't think you're overreacting. I think if she's completely different, then press into it.
I think you would definitely know, like,
Yeah.
if something is off, something's off.
I do appreciate that he has not jumped to cheating, though.
Yeah.
I think he's just like, I'm worried for her.
Yeah.
And maybe she is cheating. Like, I don't want to
Right.
say, like, there's no way that she could. Like,
But
there
I
is
like
a possibility,
that,
but I like that he isn't
her
jumping to
safety's
it.
first.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which I think is important.
Update. It wasn't really a planned discussion, just kind of happened. I had asked one of her friends earlier if something was going on. She didn't really open up, but told me it wouldn't be her place to say. I thought I wouldn't get anything out of her, so I said F it and decided I'd try talking to my girlfriend later. She came home from work acting off again. The usual. Barely said anything. Didn't eat the dinner I had prepared. Almost immediately went for a long walk outside, then straight to the shower where she spent forever. Later, she just stayed in our bedroom, laying around and not really engaging with me.
I would be super worried about her.
Yeah. I went in after a while to ask about her day gently. I wasn't pressing or nagging, just calmly asked if she could please just talk to me because I care about her and how she feels. I told her I wasn't trying to fight or blame her. I just wanted to understand what's going on. Since we always share everything, it's unfair to keep me in the dark, and I'd support her either way, whatever it was. She didn't say much, just kept mumbling about not knowing what to say, wasn't really feeling it, she was tired, etc. So I stepped back, spent some time on my own, and went for a walk. Eventually, later that day, she started opening up a little. I guess she had enough time to reflect and gather her thoughts. I'm not going to put every single word she said here in quotations because it feels personal and I'm still trying to process it myself. But basically, yeah. Something happened on the trip with her and the girls. She didn't say exactly what she did, but made it really clear that it went way past what would be okay in a relationship. Like, way past. There were plans for drinking during the trip. We both drink, and it's never been a problem. She's never been a heavy drinker and has always stayed within reasonable limits. She said what happened wasn't planned and that it just kind of did and that she wasn't herself, which honestly just made me feel a knot in my stomach. Like she was preparing me for something really bad. So I encouraged her to just say it, that she'd already said enough for me to not back down now. I deserved to know. She said the trip went well regarding the original plan. They drank, went to the sauna by the lake, swam, played games, hung around normal. Doesn't sound awful, right?
Okay. Cool.
Sounds like a normal weekend trip with friends.
Sounds like it.
Later that night, they'd been drinking more, partying, listening to music, enjoying themselves. Some were drinking and hanging out in the hot tub, while others hung around inside the cabin playing board games and talking. My girlfriend talks in circles about this and tries proving how it was a good trip and that they all enjoyed it. Eventually, though, she gets to the point and tells me why she's been down. Later in the evening, someone suggested a drinking game. They played bottle spin with a twist of drinking or doing dares. A couple of the girls were pushing it, encouraging it. She admitted she went along with it and wanted to play, but the way she said it, she looked ashamed. The dares were innocent at first, celebrity crushes, secrets, silly stuff, but they got out of hand as more drinks were consumed. Some girls dared others to kiss each other, play Marry F. Kill, pour drinks into each other's mouths. Obviously something that could escalate quickly. My girlfriend says she felt it was fun in the moment and didn't feel she did anything wrong, that it was all consensual and normal for girls when tipsy. She says she doesn't remember everything well due to her hangover the next day and isn't even sure what she did. She felt bad because she obviously doesn't like girls that way and normally doesn't do these kinds of things. She never explicitly says what she participated in, but talks like she's guilty. There was one girl there, let's call her Ellie. I've met her before. My girlfriend said Ellie hadn't participated and left the cabin when things started happening, mentioning she wasn't feeling well. They talked later that night outside, but nothing happened between them. My girlfriend said she hasn't talked to her or the girls much after the trip. I didn't yell at her or get angry, just sat there. I didn't know how to respond. She kept saying she didn't know why she shut down and has been feeling horrible since, that she didn't know how to tell me and needed time to word her thoughts. We've been distant with each other after the talk. There's this heaviness between us since she got back. Now I know why. I told her I needed space and went for a walk. When I came back, I just sat in the living room, not really looking at her. I don't see a life without her, but I don't know if I can look at her the same way again. Not just because of what she maybe did, but because she came home and shut me out, made me feel like I was crazy for noticing something was wrong. We have some edits, but like besides the kissing when you're like, that's obviously like, yeah, she like kissed people while like that's not cool. The rest of it really wasn't.
The kissing is cheating.
Right.
And I think that he's upset because she's unwilling to tell him. Like he's had to really drag it out of her and she's still hiding stuff.
That's fair. Edit 1. I phoned her friend demanding answers since I couldn't get them from my girlfriend. She confirmed there were more people joining them over the weekend than just their initial friend group and told me to talk to my girlfriend if I was so concerned. I was emotional and raised my voice since I'm trying to get a clear answer. She and Ellie are the only ones I can reach. So there were more people that came in too.
Yeah. I don't trust this.
Edit 2. I'll be making an update later. Everything's overwhelming and I need to sort things out. And we have that update.
Oh boy. Let's get into it.
I'll be staying somewhere else for a couple more days before starting to make preparations for splitting off.
Oh, wow.
I finally had a proper conversation with Ellie. It wasn't quick. We talked all evening. She didn't seem to want to at first, but eventually she opened up. She was the only one who wasn't drinking or participating, and I respect her for being straight with me. She told me this. The group was drinking heavily, and at one point, some of the girls invited a few guys over.
And here it is.
Yeah, invited a few guys over who were staying nearby. Guys I had no idea would be there. She's not sure if this was the plan all along or if it was the girl's idea in the moment. She didn't know about it beforehand. The drinking game started getting more intense with the guys involved.
Yikes.
According to her, my girlfriend ended up making out with 2 different people. One of the girls, the same girl who told me not to worry about it and wouldn't give answers when I contacted her originally.
Of course she said that.
Yeah.
She said, don't worry about it.
And one of the guys. There was a lot of touching that wasn't just playful. As far as Ellie knows, she didn't F anyone.
Yikes.
She says she left and doesn't know what happened afterwards, but it was far past anything I'd ever be okay with, and definitely past anything we ever agreed was acceptable in our relationship. What hit me the hardest was how, according to Ellie, my girlfriend wasn't even that wasted at that point. Tipsy, sure, but not blacked out or out of control. She'd been laughing, very involved, and didn't seem pressured. She wasn't out of it, like she tried to make it sound. Ellie left because she was uncomfortable, and when she returned later, my girlfriend was still in full party mode. Talking was all slurred, and she was a mess. You know it's not a mess, though. Full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcast app, search OK Storytime. Tons of episodes, guys.
So many. You have confirmation she cheated on you twice now.
Yeah. And I mean,
That's it.
he's getting out, so
Yeah.
he
I mean, he
knows.
was already getting out when, like,
Yeah.
he still wanted to get out when she told him he kissed a girl. Or she kissed a
Yeah.
girl. Yeah.
I talked with my girlfriend, well, my now ex, over the phone, but all I got was mumbles or silent treatment. I flat out said I know what she did and that she could at least admit it to me before I break it off. Asked if I meant anything to her or if all of our time together has been fake. Asked about how long she had problems with her drinking, since I've always thought of her as mature and smart woman. She was sobbing and told me she could help me understand if I came home and she could make up for all of it, and even if she did do it, she still loved me. So I'm done. I can't stay in something where I'm lied to, gaslit, and made to feel like I'm overreacting for noticing something is off. She came home and shut down instead of being honest. She let me stay confused even when I was trying to comfort her, when she should have been honest the second she walked through the door. Hell, she should have admitted it as soon as it happened. Not that it would have made what she did right. And that's the end
And
of
there you
that
go,
story.
folks. There you go.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, even if she had admitted it, still probably would have broken up.
Yeah.
Cheated on you, so it's not really much she can do to, excuse that behavior.